does most of everybody in here believe then about, okay, so we all believe that there's aliens. See, that's the thing, is having another opposing, not opposing, but another people that don't believe it. Because if there's a lot that believes it that's on here, then I need another side to go back and forth so that way we can figure out what's, I like
Yeah.
to hear both sides of the spectrum. What's up,
See,
Sly?
I
Yo,
would what see. I wish my cousin Dennis. I wish he had a TikTok and would get on here because me and him talked about aliens all the time because he's a very religious person,
Mm-hmm.
and now he doesn't live religiously, like he still does everyday normal things like everybody else does. But I asked him one day, I was like, do you believe in aliens? He goes, no. I was like, well, why not? He goes, because if there's aliens, he's like, then that means God doesn't exist.
That's not true.
And I was like, well, why would that be? And he goes, because uh, it talks about just us, in the Bible. And I was like, well, us doesn't have to be just here on Earth. I was
Right.
like, there could be a whole nother, planet or whatever. And he goes, no. He's like, the day that somebody tells me that aliens exist is the day that I stop believing in God. I was
Really?
like, yeah, I was like, well, but I was like,
yeah,
I've got some bad news.
doesn't sound like his faith is anything to, it doesn't really mean anything. It's just kind
Yeah,
of words.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
You can't say what somebody's faith means to them.
Well, if he could say that though, I could say with 100% confidence that I know God is real.
Mm.
yeah. See, and that's the same with me. Like, I believe in God, but I also believe in aliens. I believe in dinosaurs. I believe in all that shit because dinosaurs, there's proof of them. So they say there's proof. You know, like
Yeah,
fossils and shit like
I've
that.
heard
But
both sides of the debate on the
uh,
dinosaur issue. Some people say they weren't, the bones are fake, and then some people say that no, they were real, but they were also part of the fallen angels intermingling with DNA because they messed with DNA, and that's what made the dinosaurs. They were like abominations, basically.
That's so far out there.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know.
Well,
I
what
don't know.
one of my one one of my other buddies. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I was just making sure because the thing on my screen says my signal's not very good, so I didn't know if I was like going in and out. But I've got another buddy that was talking to me about dinosaurs and stuff, and he goes, "If dinosaurs are real, he's like, then that means, you know, then that means God can't be real and religion can't be true because that proves evolution." And I was like, "And who's to say that, you know?" I was like, "Why? Why does that? Why can't the two be true?"
Because God just, it says that God made man and it was bam man. It's not God made monkey and then monkey eventually became man. That's the issue there. Because
Uh,
it kind of takes away the whole focus off of man and makes you kind of this meaningless kind of thing where like it's all survival of the fittest and that's just how you came to be, whereas that's not the story that God's telling in the Bible.
true.
So Joe
I mean,
says,
maybe. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead, Taylor.
Nope, you go. I insist.
Oh, no, I was just, I was going to read some of the comments real quick because that could help us also. Um, so Celestial said that, okay, so in the Sumerian, am I saying that right? Sumerian? Uh,
Yes.
text, the Anunnaki believed in a creator as well. And so, okay, so we have, how old is this? You're saying it's before humans? How old is this book, or this where you get the knowledge for the Anunnaki? How old is that? And then Badass said that's what he heard, that the giants and everything was the aliens cross mix, the DNA. And then Joe says, what is God? Define God.
The creator, all powerful, all knowing, he sees everything, and he's in ultimate control. He can stop things from happening, but he allows bad things to happen for his purposes and for his glory.
That's what I don't get, is the allowance
If that's
part.
your belief.
Huh?
I said, if that's your belief.
If that's your belief, yeah. If that's your belief, then I guess that's what God is. Joe, do you believe in God? Or do you believe what the Bible says? And then
Where you
Zeus
at
says
for that?
evolution. You know what? I say that there is creation and evolution. I could believe in both, right? Oh no.
I mean, I would think so. I mean, it's your belief.
Well,
You can
because
anybody can believe whatever they want.
yeah, the
It's
thing
just it's not consistent with the biblical view. That's the issue.
as far as evolution goes, right? The
Yes,
evolution and creation.
it's like you're deviating from what the Bible says. That's
Right.
the issue. Yeah.
Right. So, but think about it this way, though, right? Okay, because that's how we know everything is by creation. Everything's been created that we know, right? But then you take evolution, and evolution, but it has to. If God was here and always been here, then that he wasn't created by anything, right?
Yes, always existing. Yes, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
So is that not like evolution?
No, because He always
Then-
was.
But what is the definition? But evolution is that it just appears, right? It like evolves. It just happens, right?
Evolution is
No, it's
change over time.
it changes over time.
Well, here's the problem with evolution, because evolution doesn't claim to have always existed. God claims to be eternal. And
Right.
yeah, I noticed someone in the comments said this is not meant to be like it's meant to be open-minded, but part of being open-minded is seeing other perspectives, and this is
Right.
my perspective.
Yeah, because I do like to hear other people's perspective of what they believe and what they think. Because, like, thank you so much, Lonnie. I appreciate you. Okay. Then he says that there's over 2,000 gods. Now, this is interesting too, because then isn't Anunnaki also go with mythology?
That I don't know. Like,
Is it categorized with mythology? Yes, they do. Okay, and that's another thing too, because Zeus was considered a god, and he was also in the scriptures, but
No,
was it right? He
no,
is in the scriptures,
no. That's I believe that's Greek mythology.
right? But didn't they mention Zeus in the scriptures? I could sworn that they did.
They mention I think in the New Testament that there were like people worshiping Apollo, and it says like Apollyon is the angel of the bottomless pit. I don't know.
Because if there's many gods too, right? If we believe that there's many gods as well, then a lot of different things could have come from all that. The aliens, everything could.
All throughout the Bible, though, if you're going from the Bible perspective, he never says that he says there's only one God, and everything else is kind of like people's imaginations, and there's fallen angels, and that's what they're really worshiping. That's essentially what he says.
Okay. So if we go by that, though, doesn't he say not to worship any other gods?
Yes, not to worship them, because like people, what they did back then was what was called idol worship. So like a lot of times they would like carve or make something with their hands, kind of like what people do with crystals nowadays.
Yeah.
And they say like, this is giving me this and this power. This is doing this and this for me. And there may be some energy that is like, it's imbued with, but it's not from the good side of things. That's what the Bible would teach.
So energy from a crystal, you're saying, is negative.
I'm saying that it would come from demons if there's an energy to that.
Why is that?
Because you're believing that you're getting something from something other than God. So like same with like when you take psychedelics, you're opening doors, and you may see something that looks like an alien. Like I used to see stuff like that.
But in your theory, God made everything, including a crystal.
Well,
right?
the energy.
So wouldn't that be from God then? in your theory?
God doesn't want you to. It's just like my experience tells me that when people mess with crystals, they end up messing with other occult things, and they
Listen,
end up getting into some dark stuff. It's just it. I've
that
seen
may
it
be your
continuously.
experience,
Yeah,
but
that's my experience. I'm not sure. There may be something to energy and crystals that I don't understand. I could admit that. But I think that it's not something we're supposed to worship as Christians. I know that.
And because I don't think that like I don't look at it as a because I do crystals and I go off of energy and I wouldn't say that I worship it. No, what it does though is like it does provide a sense of peace or just like kind of feeling like the vibes of people, you could just feel that energy and that vibe off of somebody, it's that same thing because everything in the world does, or even on the earth has energy in it to give you that. But I wouldn't say it's a form of worship that I do though, or like I worship it, right?
right. I
If
mean,
I'm
like
just using it,
crystals do have different properties and energies, and
yeah,
certain crystals will absorb or give off positive ions or collect negative ions. Black obsidian, black tourmaline are collect negative ions and will pull them out of the air and off of your body. Where quartz crystal and stuff like that give off a more positive, almost electric charge, and your body runs off electricity. And it's adding it to it,
right. Like
and
yeah,
that's not take any religion or myth or whatever. That's scientifically proven.
yeah. And then okay, so then Celestial says like crystals like money, they are meant to be tools in life, not worshipped. Yeah. So I use it as just like a tool for sure. Just if I need that energy. And then Joe says, is God a person? No. I mean, according to what I know of what or read about God, I would say he's not a person. What would y'all say?
He came down as Jesus Christ would be my perspective. Yes, because in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and Jesus' name in Revelations, which is now called Revelation, is on his forehead, the Word of God. So and he also says things like, "Before Abraham was, I am," and he's saying that he's God.
Okay. So, but when we talk about the word
Yes.
word was actually Jesus.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So, but Jesus prayed to his Father. He said his Father.
Yes.
So then that would mean two different people, right? Or two different entities.
It's that's the Trinity. That's where you get the Trinity. There's like a
right.
Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost.
Right. But so but there's a separation there though, because he's not praying
it's also
to himself.
an interconnectedness. It's really hard to, I don't know.
It's not hard. It's simple. Like there's God and then there's Jesus. And then Jesus prayed to God. He said, "My Father in heaven," is what he said.
But he also said, "Before Abraham was, I am."
Okay, yeah, but exactly. But the thing is that states it's that God was his Father in heaven. That's two different people. So then how can God be a person if he was in heaven and his son's praying for him? Or praying to him?
It's again, it's like that. He's like 3 in 1. That's what the Trinity.
He's praying to himself.
I would say it's kind of like a lesson to how we're supposed to live our lives, because he says things like, "Not your will, but my will." I mean, not my will, but your will be done. I feel like he was teaching us how to live. That's why he did what he did. Like he had control over the weather and stuff. Like that's not anything a normal human would be able to do. Like not just like stop a storm by saying stop,
That's correct. But you're right on that. But he also gave him the ability to do so, right? I mean, it's just weird because then what would the sacrifice mean then if it was God himself coming down here? I mean, because then he could endure all of it, and then because if God's all powerful and everything like that, he could just go ahead and do that. Would just eliminate the fact of him sacrificing his son for a purpose. He sacrificed himself.
Uh,
Joe.
it's
Whoa.
complicated. It's kind of like the
It's
story
not
with
complicated though, but
Abraham
that's
and
simple.
Isaac.
It's simple. It's not complicated. None of it's complicated. If that were there, it would not make sense. It would not make sense for it to be that way, because even history in the Bible repeats itself many times, right? Sacrifice your son, sacrifice this, sacrifice that. And it was a telling of what God was going to do. You said that last time. God was going to, he did it because that's what he did for us. So if he was going to sacrifice his only begotten son, which is also in the scriptures, his only begotten son for a reason and for a purpose, then that would state that there's two different entities, or Jesus was a person and God was a lot higher than him. And Jesus even said that he was.
Well,
And
again, why would he say before Abraham was I am? Because that's putting himself on equal to God. That's why they took up stones to stone him, because he was making himself equal to God.
who was Abraham?
Jesus. He was saying before Abraham was I am. So he was saying he's always existed.
He has, because he was in heaven with God before he came here to earth, before he put him as a spirit to earth. For according to the scriptures, he was in heaven with his father. Then he decided he would do it, and he would come down here and he would sacrifice. He told him, they had that discussion or whatever. That's why he went from an angel to a human.
But he's saying I am. He's saying
He's
eternal.
saying, exactly, I am. I was there before you. He was here. He was in heaven before
So
you.
he's not a created being then. He's always been.
Well, actually, according to the scriptures, because again, this is all, I'm just reading I'm just saying what the scriptures say. Okay. Because I don't know. I'm just saying, the
But
scriptures stated that through Jesus, everything was created.
yes, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And
Again,
Jesus' name was the Word of God. So he is God and with God.
no, okay. Okay. But then if you're saying that though, in that theory, what you're saying, that eliminates the sacrifice God made and said his son was sacrificed for us. So you're telling me, because of that, what you just said, that God sacrificed himself, and so now I'm fooled by God? Because then what was the sacrifice for then? He did it? If he did that, that really eliminates a lot. If he sacrificed himself.
What does that tell you about God's love for his people?
Oh,
then?
that he would kill himself, or that he sacrificed his son.
He would be willing to give up his son, but also willing to die himself.
No, because he can't die. He cannot die. If he died, he would die as a flesh. He wouldn't die.
Yeah, in the flesh. Yeah, right. That's
Okay,
true.
so
That's true.
yeah, exactly. So
It's really complicated. It's hard
no,
for me
it's
to
not.
talk
No,
about.
it's not.
No,
I
it's not.
if I'm gonna believe what the scriptures are telling me, right? And every religion out there believes the same thing, that God sacrificed his son for us. That doesn't state one person. It states two different people. Am I correct by what that says? Or no?
According to that, yeah.
According to what the scriptures say, yes. Why would God create a disease that eats? Let's go into something else. Don't get too interesting without me. But was that correct what I said though?
It's still any way I read John 1, it says the Word was with God and the Word was God. And if Jesus is the Word of God, then that again it goes to Trinity.
Well, you could say no, because you could say, people say this all the time, as far as like children or sons and fathers all the time. Of course, I am my mother's daughter. You know what I mean? I mean, you could sit there and take that and switch it any way you want to. But if you're gonna use that as a Trinity tool, or use it to prove the Trinity, then that's gonna wipe out the whole aspect and the whole thing about God sacrificing his son. I know why he did it, because he loves us. I know that, but you can't use that scripture and then sit there and say, I don't believe you can. I don't think it would work that way to say that God sacrificed himself, because there's a whole meaning behind it. And if God could resist everything, I mean, he could resist it all. So then that doesn't really tell me anything. It's better to know that, yeah, his son resist and he became flesh and he became a human. And then that sacrifice and that heartache and everything, yes, but not if he did it himself. It's just it's just my from what I read, it doesn't make sense for it to be.
I can't consistently read John 1 or Revelations or that part about him saying before Abraham was I am and come to any other conclusion. It doesn't like register with my brain. You know what I'm saying? Okay,
that's fine. So let's take that scripture up. Let's not, okay, I get it. I get what you're saying, but does that make sense though, to use it in that way and still think that God himself died for us whenever he was said that his only begotten son is the one that he sacrificed?
Hey, I mean, I could see both sides of the debate to some extent, but I can't say that Jesus isn't God.
He's okay. So you have a father and a son. You have a father and a son, right? Father, son. Now, he could be a God in a way, sure. And I believe that even in some scriptures, it has God with a big G, meaning, and it differentiates. I can't even say that word now.
Differentiates.
Yeah, with Jesus by using a little g. If you look at the big G, that means the dad, and then you look at the little g, it means Jesus. And then even Jesus there's so many scriptures other than that one that you're talking about, the word is the word, whatever, that there's more scriptures to indicate that Jesus and God are two different things.
But if Jesus ever said before Abraham was I am, you'd have to say that he's a liar to say that he's not.
No, I'm not saying he's a liar. I told you that I told you he was telling the truth. He was there before him. He was higher than him because he was in heaven with God. But what I'm saying is, how can you be one person and say, through Jesus, everything was created? How is it that Jesus could say, my Father in heaven? How could God say my only begotten son? How is that, those words meaning one person? It's meaning different. It's meaning his son.
I would say, you know what else is I guess a crazy thought?
That's what I think.
Is that if they are two different people, then that would mean that Jesus was the only person to ever not have free will because he was destined to basically die.
You think he's the only person who doesn't have free will? Do you think you have free will?
It's God though. You're saying it's God. Does God have free will?
Yeah, God is the only one who has free will. No one else does.
We don't have free will?
No, not fully. No, you can't say, okay, I'm going to decide to fly right now.
Well,
That's not free will.
That's not free will.
Yeah,
that's not free will at all.
I mean, it's the fullest sense of it, and say like,
no, it's not.
Okay,
I
well,
want to fly.
okay, I'm just being really technical
like...
here. I'm being really technical here. Just bear with me, okay?
Okay.
Say I have a plan to go to the store.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to drive to the store. Lightning bolt hits the street, knocks a street light down. I can't get to the store, or like a car accident happens. I get something. I don't know. Just like any sort of things can happen. Your free will is you can make plans, but you never know what's going to happen.
That's not free will.
That's not free will either.
In my opinion, I think that would be just like divine intervention, not necessarily being like, oh, well, I had these plans and then all of a sudden they just got halted.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do it. So like free will would be like, you can still find a way to get there. It's just not the original plan you had. But
or
since
making a decision, a bad decision.
So I guess the way that I'm looking at it is Jesus had one path. Yeah. Like he was sent here to save all of us, but with our lives, we can go any way we want. We can choose to believe. Mm-hmm. We can choose not to believe. We can choose to be a just fucking horribly awful person, or we can choose to be one of the best people that's ever lived. But he had one path, and
Do
that
you,
was to be the savior of
Mankind.
us.
do you know about Paul from the Bible? Have you heard of Paul?
Thanks,
Have
Misty.
I?
Do you think that Paul had free will to choose to follow God, or do you think that he was put in a situation where it was evident and it was like, okay, obviously, you know, he didn't
I mean,
come on logic. Is what I'm saying.
it was still free will. He still had the choice
had the
whether to
choice.
believe in him or not. It was just he chose to do it.
Yes, the Bible teaches though that the gospel is foolishness to anyone who is not revealed to by God.
What does
So
that mean?
So like just like Joe Cassia here, like they're like it doesn't make sense to them. That's
No.
because that's the way it's meant to be.
No, it's I don't believe that. I don't believe that it's because it doesn't make sense. I think it's because it's a question that you want answered, right? So I think that I don't know if you could hear me if he's unpaused.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, it's not mine. My bad.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, take us back. Welcome, guys. If you could like the page, and we get some more in here. Christ is higher than God the Father, even in Christian. I don't see that according to the scriptures. I don't. When reading the scriptures, it doesn't state that. Okay, so Star, when people have questions, right, and they're trying to understand it and trying to comprehend it, I don't think it's the
Right.
fact that God
Yeah.
or it's saying that only these specific ones are open to knowing it or open to the knowledge of it. I don't think that they're blocked. I don't think that they're, I think it's just a matter of explaining it and getting them to understand it as a whole. Right?
So you think that you can logic someone to salvation?
Logic somebody to salvation. The scriptures say it's what's in the heart.
Yes, and the heart is wicked.
So then
God
why
has
would
to
the
change the
scripture
heart.
state that then? Why would God say that he
What-
could read the hearts and what's in the hearts is really what's going to save you? Why would God say
God
that?
God
See,
has
the
to
whole
give
thing
you a
is-
new heart. He has to write his law on your heart.
The whole thing is, at the end of the day, we all get to choose what we do. Yes, actions have consequences, but we make our own decisions. They can
Which
be
is free will.
influenced, but at the end of the day, nobody's telling you, hey, you can't do this. You can do it. You can decide to go drive drunk. You might just end up getting arrested.
Again, that right there, what Dakota just said is free will. So how is it that we don't have free will? We have the free will to decide on if we're going to do good or bad. That was the whole point of
Yes.
Adam and Eve.
Don't you think there's some leanings though?
Like
that-
what?
Like biases that humans have, inclinations towards certain things that would make it not truly free will?
Like what?
It's free will. It's just heavily influenced. Like, you're influenced by your upbringing, society, social norms. Like, you
So
still have the choice to do what you want.
Is it free then?
Absolutely.
Like free will to me would be like, okay, so you've got like this 50-50 decision, go left or right on the road. Whereas it's more like, okay, well, I've got this decision to eat food because I'm hungry or not. It's like I don't know. To me there's just like the inclination to sin is 100%. And
Yeah.
as
And also,
before you
That
get
operates
sick, like,
under the
it's-
belief that everybody believes that, there is such a thing as sin.
right.
It's societal norms and things that the world has created.
That's
Like,
interesting.
You can choose your own path. What happens on that path, yeah, that's a different story. But you get to choose which way you go.
Well,
Right, but
I
there's
think-
always going to be things changing the path that are not according to your will.
and what
so
is
then
changed?
are you go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Mike. I'm gonna let you go.
I was gonna say, and what has changed? Change is a form of evolution. So Star, do you believe in evolution of the human body at all?
I don't like. Can you explain to me?
Just that, like, Do you think that we evolve as time goes on? The human body.
I could see, yes, I would probably say yes, because there's like the pygmy people who, like, if they were tall, they wouldn't be able to traverse the landscape that they're in, stuff like that.
So you're believing in some form of evolution.
Adaptation, I guess. I don't know.
So yeah, Celestial says that we see evolution all year in nature for sure.
The thing is your body is constantly evolving. If there was no evolution, the human brain evolves like daily. If it didn't, Jesus would have been holding a cell phone. But their brains couldn't comprehend the technologies and have the sciences back then to do so. Over time, your brain develops and becomes more complex in the human body. And I know this from a scientific medical background.
Oh, what's your background? I'm curious. Maybe.
I'm not going to say it on here, but
sorry.
Believe me, I have one.
Yeah, I believe you.
So I do not believe in God from what I've done at all. I believe in what I believe. It doesn't really matter, but your body is constantly evolving. It can adapt, yes, to weather conditions in geographical locations, whatever. But as far as your mind itself is constantly evolving, constantly becoming smarter, constantly, there's new technologies coming out. Like, if it didn't, all of this stuff we're doing now would have existed back then. But they couldn't comprehend it. And to me, the way the mind worked back then, it was like the Bible was the only form of social media, right? So everybody believed whatever they heard. Kind of how before the internet, we believed whatever the newspaper said.
Don't you think there's a higher propensity for propaganda and for false information, though, as a result of this technology that we didn't have before?
Kind of, sort of.
It's kind of like a double-edged sword. You know, you can get more truth.
It's knowledge. It's knowledge that keeps progressing.
But it could be some deception thrown in with knowledge.
So could the Bible.
Is on the news. There always is.
So could the Bible, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you.
So the Bible was written before social media, before news, before whatever. All it did was go by village to village. Some guy riding a horse saying, "This is what we got to do. This is how we have to live." And then they take it. It's kind of like the phone game, right? There was no way to throw something out there. How do you explain that in Egypt, in the pyramids, they have hieroglyphs inside of a pyramid, and then 7,000 miles away in South America, they have the exact same pictures on the walls with no interaction of people at all?
I can kind of explain that, actually.
Okay.
So like back when I did psychedelics, for example, I would say that these same people would be doing things like this. When you take psychedelics, sometimes you see patterns. Like I could be looking at the floor, right? And I would see the same stuff that the Mayans would be drawing on walls. Stuff like that. And so they're drawing what they're seeing. So if they're doing some sort of taking some sort of psychedelic drug, or if they're doing some sort of sorcery that's kind of opening the veil, so to say.
Okay, so hundreds of different civilizations on all of the continents that have no contact with each other are all now taking psychedelics, and in their trip, they're all seeing the same thing. Come on.
Yeah, the fallen angels. Yeah,
really.
We war not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual.
Number one, a drug, any kind of drug in this world, including cancer-fighting drugs and everything, does not affect a person the exact same way. You could, me and Misty were just talking about this. Like, okay, like lettuce, you smoke it. One person smokes it and they're fine. Another person smokes it and they freak out. Mm-hmm. Another person smokes it and they go to sleep. It doesn't affect everybody the same way. But to take hundreds of different civilizations with no interactions and they're all hallucinating, but yet they're all seeing the same exact thing. It makes no sense.
No, it does though. If they're all breaking the veil and the fallen angels are all playing the same tricks, it would make perfect sense.
Wait. Okay, hold on. He's okay. So the fallen angels are the ones that you're saying are that did this and put all this stuff in
Yeah,
Egypt?
they're very active. They're everywhere.
Well, I know
Just
they're
about.
everywhere, but I'm just like it. So they also have free will.
The fallen angels,
Yeah.
yeah, they rebelled and they're unforgivable now. So they're
Okay.
hell bent on dragging people to hell.
Okay. So they have free will and they're able to make choices, good or bad. Tater said Jesus was the only one that it seemed to not have any free will, and you said that we don't have free will, but yet we still can make choices on if we're going to do drugs just like the angels do. So wouldn't that be still free will?
I guess it's like for me, I guess maybe because I'm possibly because I just try to look at things from such a logical perspective. My way is like I just find technicalities and issues in every sort of free will argument. It doesn't feel fully free to me, so I get kind of stuck on that.
So it's not logic that what I am saying is actually logical.
Oof.
It is
Hold on.
logical. It's going based off of what you said. It's going based off of what your theory of it. So whenever it's being questioned, I think that's whenever it's like, okay, well, wait a minute. And I think that's the part of it, right? Is just trying to understand why it's working the way it is. If you can't answer something really, it's just because maybe we just don't know the answer to it yet. And that's why we're questioning it, right? It doesn't mean that we don't know or we don't have the knowledge to, or
Right.
because God hasn't put it on.
I guess like my definition of free will is the issue. It's like I'm not.
Okay,
Yeah, it's like I'm just stuck on it, you know.
that's fine. But your definition though, but you used it in the same way that we use it.
Dakota wants to speak.
Oh yes, go ahead, Dakota.
You have
So,
the stick.
You made a very, very important statement, and it was how you perceive it or believe it. The big thing that was like almost every 2 seconds in the Marine Corps we heard it. Perception is reality. So how you see the world and how you perceive the world, that's your reality.
Were you the same guy who said that last week?
No.
Oh,
This is only like my second or third time in the boxes.
yeah, it's kind of true, but it's kind of not true. Because like if I'm having a trip, you know, I could feel like I'm in hell, you know, like a bad trip. But am I really in hell, or am I just kind of out of my mind?
In that moment,
Reality
feeling it that
wise, like
way.
from an objective perspective outside of me, I'm just tripping balls, you know.
What was that question? Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry. Repeat that, Star. What you said. The question.
I don't remember. I have ADHD.
yeah.
I read somewhere for a minute when you were saying that, and I just couldn't. I'm sorry. I really wanted to know what that was. What he said. What did he say?
He said something about he could be
Perception
having a
is
really bad trip and feel like he's in hell. In that moment, that's your perception. That is your reality. You are in hell for that trip. Once that trip is over, it's different because you're perceiving the world with a clear head.
Yeah, but there's got to be like an objective perception that's true.
Who says?
John Mayer.
Tater.
Hater.
Oh my God. Matt, hello. Look at you. I love your hair. Did you want to say anything on this? Do you want to speak on any of it?
Yes and no.
I mean, nobody's gonna get upset. I love Star. I think he's great, and I think that he, it's good to have the two different things just to see what we come up with. So we're just,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now I'm like with everybody as far as basically on the free will topic. Yeah. It's we have free will. Like right now, I have the free will to be here. I don't have to be here.
Mhm.
Unless I
have the free
intervene and
will to
kick you
leave
out.
it. Yep.
Just
But
kidding.
I know I've mentioned it before, but I was born into a religion,
Okay.
and I just saw all the about it. I
Mhm.
never was a believer. Still not. And I just see a lot of weird stuff with all the different religions. It's just like none of that makes shit. None of it makes sense. And I'm like, I'm an outsider looking
Mhm.
in at everything all my life, basically. So I perceive a lot of different things from a lot of different areas, walks of life, everything.
Did you grow up like religious? I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was born into and basically until I was 18.
Okay. Yeah. Similar
And,
similar to what happened to me.
yeah, and the same
Yeah.
with me. Like, I mean, well, religion came a little bit later. I was around it, right? But it came later, and I can't do it. But so if with religion, that's different though than even just knowing the scriptures, right? So some people they're not religious. They're not gonna, be part of any organization, religious organization, but yet they still believe the Bible. Do you?
Nope.
You don't believe the Bible either. Okay.
Yep.
And see,
I don't
another
believe any of
important
it.
thing with that is there's a huge difference between religion and faith. I think religion itself is bullshit. Your
Mhm.
faith is a completely different story.
True. That's how I felt too.
Yeah, I think that it's like from my perspective, you follow God, right? And the book is there for grounding to what God had always taught you, but it's you don't get your life from the book, and God operates outside of the book. But if you think that he only operates within the book, then you're just religious.
Yeah, I
Ding, ding,
think.
ding. Perception. How you read
Yeah.
the Bible and how you interpret it, that's your perception. How another person reads it, how they interpret it, that's their perception. And for both individuals, that is their reality.
Right,
It's all
but
about interpretation.
Everyone's got their
see, that's the
biases.
thing though, is like the interpretation. See, this is where it also gets confusing because you're not to change or add or anything like that, right? But if you just take it for what the words are and what they're saying, I mean, just take it for what it says. Don't change it or don't try to add anything to it just to prove your point because it says what it says. And that's, even so with the free will though, I want to say, Tater, that he did have free will, Jesus, because he is the one that told him that he would take that job to do that. I believe so. I'm looking back at it and I'm just going to make sure and verify that. But I think that he did. I want to say he did say that because I believe even Abraham's son, the people will depict it
As-
like he was trying to be scared and like didn't know what was going on, but he knew what was going on. He knew that his father was doing that because of what God wanted, and he walked right up there with him. That's what
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't know if it really specified it too much.
it does actually specifies that.
In
I just have to find the
in
scripture
Genesis?
so that I could give it to you guys, but
In Genesis or like Jubilees or something, because I don't really, it doesn't really say he was like kicking and screaming. I don't.
it wasn't that. No, he wasn't kicking and screaming, but people will say that. People depict that.
I would have been.
I would have been scared. But as far as Jesus goes, that one I think is just going to be as far as who he is and who God is. But according to the scriptures, it doesn't state that they're one person. But
Again, that would depend on your bias or your perspective.
I'm not biased by any means as far as that goes, though. You know what I mean?
But you
I
are, because I disagree with you, and my my view says this, your view says that, so we've got different.
Because it's not the view. Because let me tell you why it's not that. Because when he says my only begotten son, what does that mean?
His only son.
Okay, and when he's an only son, that's another person,
But
right?
but it also says in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God,
Okay.
and His name
I know you keep
Revelations
saying
is the Word
same
of God.
scripture though. You keep saying the same one. I get it. But I'm asking you as a person,
Why can't it be both?
No, because you have an answer. Because you're answering only with the scriptures. I want you to answer as a person. When you say my only begotten son, this is my only son right here. What am I
Right.
saying? That my son's right here, right? That means
Yes.
me and my son, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I needed to know.
Yes, but also if you claim God status, then that would make you would either
So
have
then all the other scriptures are wrong then.
well you would I mean if you're gonna say that you can either be consistent and say that God is three persons in one, God is three, or you kind of are inconsistent. That's how I feel.
Bro,
Okay,
I
so
gotta
with
go
that
somewhere
theory,
quiet.
with that
Grandpa,
theory,
I gotta go in the living room.
so with that
I'm gonna
theory,
pause it.
with what you're saying, inconsistency and consistency, what I'm asking you is you're using that one scripture. There's more than one. There's like probably 15 to 20 of them stating that that's his son and that it would indicate that they're separate. So are you telling me that that one scripture you keep telling me knocks out the rest of them? Where'd he go? There you are. Does it knock out all the rest of them then?
It's like an interconnectedness between Jesus and God. That's the Trinity. Interconnectedness. He is in me, I'm in him.
Yes, but what I'm asking you is the other scriptures that state that that's his son and Jesus says my father, all that, should I not look at that? Should I not think that there's two because of that? Because the words is what is being used to state it. That's what I'm saying. Like, do I just take those out then?
I mean, the way I do it is I would just put it all together, and that's why I come to the Trinity doctrine.
But
That
it
sort of
can't.
belief.
It-
I know it's a mystery.
It's
The
not a
same
mystery. It's not a
it's
mystery.
the same mystery if you really get stuck on this thought.
It's
Um,
not. It's not
no.
a mystery. It's so simple.
Just think about the beginning though. That's gonna make you feel like you're in a mind. You know what? It's like, just think about it. Think of the beginning.
What about at the beginning? Beginning of what? The beginning of Earth? The beginning of humans? The beginning of the universe? The beginning of God? What beginning are we talking about?
I'll try to explain it this way. You know, I have two cats, right?
Okay.
How much do you think that they understand about human life? You know, like, I mean, do you think that there's things that we grasp that cats don't grasp? That we're not
Okay.
that they're not meant to understand?
That will eliminate the fact that the reason why God even made according to the scriptures and according to the Bible being preserved for all these years, right? And from what most religions would go with is that by faith we have to believe that everything is true that's being said in the scriptures, and that God, put this here so we had some sort of knowledge and understanding through life and through how everything happened with us, right? So if that's the case, and if he even states that he wants you to question, he wants you to ask, and he states that in there, then that's what we're doing. And
Yes.
that's how it's working, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna believe that's what it says. So if that's what it says, then it is what it is.
Yeah.
Then I'm pretty smart enough to know that whenever you're telling me this is my only son, that means that he's separate from his father.
Okay, but I guess again I come to a different conclusion based on what I read.
Okay. That girl, what are you doing? How are you?
Hey, how are you guys?
Good.
Good.
Do you have anything to add? We're talking about we were talking about aliens, but
No,
I have no
was
idea what I'm doing
here on this thing. I was.
Hold on.
I don't have anything to say on the subject yet, though.
okay. Also, free will was interesting. Do you believe we have free will?
Yes, 100%.
What is your definition of free will?
My definition of free will is the ability to make choices, although our baseline or our higher power chooses where we go directionally, but we choose all the small choices on the way there.
Okay. Okay.
I could kind of get down with that definition.
Yeah.
That one kind of makes sense to me. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, I like that too.
That was actually very concise. I like that. You might need to write that down for me.
Yeah, that one was a good one. I like that too. I like the explanation for that one. Rick, what's going on? How are you?
Tired, working in a condo,
Nice.
painting.
Did you have any thoughts on any of the topics that we've discussed?
With way how I was brought up, I grew up group homes, foster homes, like Lutheran, Catholic, all that stuff where it was kind of forced in, you know.
Mhm.
And just as my thing is I don't believe in religion. I think a lot of it is just, you know, built to keep you in line. More or less, like it does help people on advantages and stuff, but I've just seen it completely destroy lives and family as well as completely as mine. As where if you keep throwing into the plate, you know, everything's gonna be great. But when you got a bipolar, manic depressive paranoid schizophrenic mother that keeps throwing in 30-40% of her paycheck, and then you have a son that just timed out of a foster home at 13 years old, trying to keep lights on and trying to do this, what do you think he's gonna do? You know, to help things out, because God wasn't saving nothing when his father raped his sister. That put this whole thing into perspective. So I mean, it's like if these religions or if these gods or these faiths allow this to happen to different people, what kind of sick and cynical thing does religion actually teach if they actually allow this to happen to babies and children and all that? I mean, like I said in the comments, you know, the cop out answer is to teach the parents a lesson or have them to have more faith, like, you know, like some of the stories in the Bible, you know, where I can't remember his name or whatever. Was it Job or something like that, where he kept just messing with him more or less until you know he was on his knees praying for whatever. And it's like, what kind of sick shit is that?
I don't know if you guys have ever studied Native American religion, but that is something that I go by the lines of, just because it is not like you have to come to this ceremony, you have to do this, you know. It's more like you believe in Mother Nature and you believe in a higher power, and it's way more like abstract, and I think it gives you the opportunity to believe in what you want to believe in. It doesn't force you to believe something as structural as some religions do, I think.
Yeah, it's because it's like the whole manifestation too, you know, of life, and it could be what you want as far as God or whatever. Like you are, you know what I mean? Whatever God is to you, because it could be bad or good. You know what I mean? There is bad and good in this world, and it was created somehow or by something or whatever. You know what I mean? There is that good and bad energy, and I feel like what energy you feed is what you're gonna get. You know? Unfortunately, we have to go through some shit.
The big part too is the Native American religions aren't so much structured as like go to church, do this, do that. It's more based on the actual faith.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of, if you're talking to me though, I would say that I go where I'm led to go. If I feel led to leave the church, I leave the church because they can't see things like the Mandela Effect Bible changes, and sometimes I leave because of stuff like that.
Right, and that's good, and I think that that's great, because I think you got to go where you're led, 100%, right?
But if I feel that they're kind people and I get a lot out of spending time with them, then even if they can't see, I'll still talk to them and have good fellowship. It depends. Just like you guys, I could have a good fellowship time with you guys.
Right, yeah, for sure. The Mandela effect, though, the fact, because the Mandela effect for the Bible or the scriptures of the changes, I don't know if it's necessarily the Mandela effect than it is just like humans themselves changing it and making it fit what they want to at the time that they want to make it fit.
Brad, I was literally about to say that like fucking 10 minutes ago. Look at Brad's comment. It's great.
What,
No, I kind of came in here late. I mean, who are like the people that are like the strong believers that are actually having like the open conversation or whatever here, which is cool. I mean, like I said, I respect everybody's opinion.
Yes, me too.
You can believe whoever you want to believe. You can believe this microwave is your god, and I'll be like, all right, Kate, cool, bro. Like, I want to cook a frozen burrito. Is that all right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what personal people choices are. I just think whatever choice that you make for yourself in your life, you live with it and you own it, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah,
That's
so
how
because
I
what we
feel.
like to do is definitely, have a good conversation, a good debate. I think we could have a good debate or a good conversation without it getting too heated. But I think we only, let me know who is all religious or whatever. Mike? Well, for everybody to know in the room. I know.
I am not.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm not.
Okay. And then Star is that girl.
Yes.
You do the native practices, right?
Yes.
Okay. Dakota.
Yes and no. I'm not
Yes.
like a firm believer in religion, but I do have a certain amount of faith.
Okay.
Yeah.
Badass. You're on mute.
Yeah.
I think I do need another person up here that does believe in the
Tater.
Bible and
Oh.
religion.
Yeah,
I'd like to get my buddy, but he didn't.
I believe,
not hop in.
so, it gives me something to look forward to. It may not exist and it may not, but I'm a believer, There's just too many record of, I
I can't hear you. You're breaking in and out. I'm gonna need you to reset.
okay.
Okay. All right. Tater.
Yes.
Yeah. Religious, not religious. Believe Bible, not believe Bible.
I'm not like religious, but I believe in God. I don't like follow the Bible or anything like that, but I do believe there's a higher power than me that is God, and I believe in like heaven and hell and all that stuff.
He said it better than I did.
So yeah, and for me, I'm still trying to make sense of it all. The scriptures, I have a really hard time believing it's 100% accurate. But if we're going to use it and we're going to go by it, then I need to understand why certain people believe certain things whenever the scripture says another. But I guess I'm more of a spiritual person than anything. I know that there's a higher power. There's something higher. I really base a lot of stuff off of good energy and bad energy. So I'm still learning, though. I still have questions.
Me too, girl. I am all about good energy and bad energy, and I'm so sensitive.
Yeah, me too.
No, she's not. She's mean.
Oh, she's not mean.
I got in her live one time and she was like, "Taylor, you're stupid and fat and you can't read good." I was like,
Is there
"That's messed up."
another person down here? What did you say, Star, that you wanted your friend to come up? But what?
Yeah, I wanted my friend to come on, but he doesn't really have TikTok. He doesn't understand it.
Okay.
But he would be
I'm in
really
the
good
same
to have on
boat.
maybe next week if he could understand it.
That would be awesome.
He's very mature. He's like he's solid too, and he could take a debate without getting angry.
Perfect. That's perfect then. If there's anybody else down there that is very religious that would like to come up and speak with us, that would be great. So that way it's not so uneven of numbers.
Yeah, like I don't want Star to feel like everybody's ganging up on him or anything.
Oh no, this is everyday stuff. I used to go on VR chat and try to talk to people, and I'd get surrounded by people and they'd be bullying me, and you guys aren't bullying me.
Yeah, I don't want you to be singled out.
I just
I
believe
just like
that
a different
whatever you
perspective
believe in,
seeing
that
what
helps you
everybody
get
else
through
thinks.
the day is good.
I'm sorry, what was that, Mike?
I said I just think that whatever you believe in, no matter what it is, like what Rick said, the microwave, like
Mhm.
whatever you want to believe in that helps you get through the day, So what? Let it be.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
the problem becomes when you try and push that on somebody else.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Right.
100%. 100%.
But just for the sake of the show and conspiracy and the whole debating thing, you know what I mean? But I actually believe that too. I'm not gonna base my friendship with somebody based on what they believe or not. If you're a good person and you're good to me and you have loyalty and trust, that's right there, and respect. Loyalty, trust, and respect. That's gonna give, we're gonna be friends for life if you could do that. But it has, religion and politics and all that has definitely divided people. But I'm not that type of person. But I do like to have a good understanding and debate about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm more or less the same way. It's like I don't want to speak out on something that I haven't kind of researched or experienced myself. And I'm not saying I'm right on everything, and more or less, I've been wrong on a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
But just my personal experiences and where I've came from 6 years old till now, I could keep living in that. Like I own my own painting company. I'm painting a customer's condo and staying there for a week. Right off, I just got to watch all the tornadoes and shit on, Lake Michigan, and so I mean, it was pretty cool. But or I could have just stayed being a piece of crap my whole life and doing bad things to try and get somewhere else. So you make your own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't put my faith into a God or to a religion to help change me.
Mm-hmm.
I had to make the decision and put the faith in myself to improve my life. And, it still sucks, but I'm here. I'm going to keep doing what I got to do. But at the end of the day, there isn't something that I'm going to, pray to or ask for forgiveness for. Because if that was the case, it was like, why did you give me this cup of tea?
Right.
Why would you put somebody, and like I said, there was a lot of stuff that's my fault, but the younger years, when you're a kid, when you're
Yeah.
a child that's
Yeah.
learning, there's a lot of unnecessary crap. And it's like, well, why would you put an individual through something like that if you're supposed to be a protector? I'm supposed to ask you for forgiveness when I mess up, but
Right.
you're allowing this to happen? Where's your asking for forgiveness? What makes you better than me? And
Thought that you said, that's one of those things that when I started questioning sometimes, because what you said, so it's like you have two people that are faithful, believe in God, same religion, whatever it is, right? One kid is, or what, somebody, they lose somebody in their family, both of them do, right? But one doesn't, and she says, or he says, it's because my faith in God, and I prayed every day, and I did all this, whatever. But then the other one did the same thing. So how come, who decides on which one stays safe and which one doesn't? You know what I'm saying? Like, why didn't hers work, but yet
I watched
the
a
other
good friend of mine, his little boy, go to the Ronald McDonald House for a rare sarcoma, 2 years old, and battle that with cancer just to lose his life. Like, why would you have a child come into this world just to be put through so much chemo and so much pain, and put this family through so much pain, just to end up, you know what I mean? And then come up with the excuse, oh, it had to be some lesson to teach the parents to make their faith stronger, or this, or that. And that's pretty shitty, if you ask me, at the end of the day. I mean, to say that to somebody.
Anybody have any
and
thoughts? That's a good point, and that's a good that's good. Do you guys have anything on that? As to why, or no?
I mean, believe me, like I said, I'm not trying to bash any religion. I'm just
No,
saying,
but it's a good
it's my
question,
own
though.
personal opinion at the end of the day. And
What is the
Yeah,
like I
question?
said,
So what's your answer to that?
Mine?
my answer,
Yeah.
or you asking me, or
You
her?
asking me?
Yeah. Yeah, what's your answer to that? How do we solve that problem?
Who, me?
Yeah.
It's not a problem to solve. I mean, if there was a God and if there was a religion, and then somebody you're praying to for forgiveness and praying to for help and this and that, it shouldn't happen to begin with. That's my answer to it. If my feeling and my opinion, if religion and faith, a God, or a higher power was the person that was supposed to help you and protect you if you had enough faith that these things wouldn't happen. So
I
why
believe that
would they
things
allow?
happen and they send you like on a path. And I think that the paths are the important part. I don't think that the lesson's the important part. I think that the paths are the important part.
But the path and a lesson for a 2-year-old to lose his life after such a short time to go through that much pain, what lesson is that teaching anybody?
I don't
That's
think
teaching
that's
people
the
to
lesson though.
hurt.
I think that it's the path that it sends you on that's the important part.
My ways
So
You
like
don't
are
a like
have
higher
to
than
learn
your
anything
ways.
because there's nothing that you can learn that because there's so much, you know, grief and empathy. I can only imagine. I can only
That
imagine.
what that my good friend actually lost his faith in religion because his little boy went through that. Like it
that
was
would be the
deeply
path. Yeah,
related to that.
that one's a
Would that be
little
the
hard
right
for me
path?
to
Like we want
understand.
this guy out of here, so let's kill his kid.
Maybe that was the path for him was to not have that religion anymore.
But that's messed up.
Yeah, the
You're gonna
sacrifice
kill a kid just to
yeah.
go to a different religion?
I don't
That's
think I don't. The way that I know it, the way that the way that the scriptures state it, okay, and again, I'm not either a believer or not with the scriptures. I'm still trying to figure it out because from it sometimes it goes up and down for me, but from what the scriptures state, that the whole reason for this whole situation is because of the sins of Adam and Eve. That's it, right? But you have the power to stop this shit, right? But apparently Satan was thrown into earth, right? So for me, I feel like this shit's hell, to be honest. I mean, because
But
you
if you
can't
think
tell me
about it
that.
too, how many people
Satan is called the
God?
little g god of this world, so this is where he
Wait, what?
operates over the children of disobedience.
Wait, what'd you say? Say that one more time for me, Star.
Satan is called the little g god of this world.
So the little g in the Bible, when I was telling you the little g's and the big g's?
Yes.
No, the little g is Jesus. I'm gonna find you a
No.
scripture because I can't. I'm gonna look at the scriptures and see because I believe because I don't think that Satan would or the devil would be called any type of god.
He's
According to the
when
Bible, though,
he was able to give Jesus the kingdoms of the world.
Yeah, that's
And
true. That's
I
true.
don't
That's
believe
true.
in like Adam and Eve. I believe in you are it's good luck, it's bad luck. If you put good into this world, you get good out. If you put bad into this world, you get bad out. But I also believe that there is something to learn.
So I'm with you on that. So to an
there was a
extent,
lot of bad that came from my good
right,
though too.
right. To an
And there was
extent,
a lot of good
karma.
that came from the bad that I did, but
Right. So
you just have
karma
to own your
does
shit.
come back. I feel like if you do give good energy, you get bad. But what he's talking about, what Rick's talking about, is whenever you are born into something and you're not able to make a choice at that moment because you're a child or whatever, you don't know yet, and there's things that go on, or you're like, how did you decide that this person gets this deck of cards and this person gets this deck of cards, and then there you go. You know what I mean? Like some people are kind of damned when they get here. You know, like they're
Yeah.
born into a
Okay,
really
but
messed up
That's what
family.
Romans teaches
Yo.
actually.
Can I say something about that? Going on with
Yes.
what? Okay. So one time there was an 11-year-old boy. He cut his artery in his arm riding a bike.
Educational purposes, by the way.
3 stitches, he'd have been fine. The religion was against it. His
Yeah.
parents did not allow us to do anything. We had to sit there and watch him
bleed out.
Oh.
because their
Was he
God
Jehovah's
said
Witness?
they can't do it.
Yeah, most Jehovah's Witnesses do that.
And it's like, so he was born into a belief of his parents, and he paid the sacrifice for what his parents believed in.
Right.
Yeah, I
And he
can't see.
wanted help.
Generational curse.
Yeah, generational curses. Oh, well, wait a minute. Star, you just said generational curses?
Yes.
You believe in curses?
Yes.
Well, that's
Curses are a form of evil, technically.
That's why I thought that, yeah, because you were saying, like, as far as, like, the crystals and all that stuff, that would be
It's
a
just
form
tea.
of...
So it's a judgment.
It's
You
a
know,
judgment. The judgment?
Curses are a judgment in the sense from if you have a father or a grandfather who has indulged in a certain sin for a long period of time, it's very likely that you will struggle with that same sin.
I
If
believe
no,
curse is a
someone
verb.
has to be covered by the blood of Jesus and overcome it eventually.
I believe curse is something that you do to someone. It is a verb. It is something that you
Where
put
is
on
that noise
someone.
coming from?
I'm putting my faith in this railing right now as I cut
Okay,
it.
I'm just gonna mute you because it was just okay. Go ahead, guys. Sorry, girl. That girl. Go ahead, Katie. Sorry.
I was just saying that I think that it's not, I think that it is a verb. It is more something that you lay upon someone. It is something that you damn someone, kind of.
It's a thought, definitely. Guys, thank
So
you so
then-
much for coming. I appreciate it. If you guys don't mind, though, if we could tap, because I really need to get that number up from 5. If there's 18 of us in here, just so we can keep doing boxes.
So how is a curse genetically predisposed?
Predisposed.
Yes, predisposed. Thank you. So if my father drank a lot of apple juice, his father drank a lot of apple juice, his father did, right? That means I do?
Drinking apple juice isn't a sin.
Well, it's a different type of. It's a certain.
Well, you're saying it's a generational curse that if my father did something that I would do it.
It is, though.
But I don't. And my father did.
So you beat the curse, I believe. That means that you are a strong individual, and I believe that you have the ability to beat that.
No, it's a choice I made.
Which is free will.
But what if it's passed down from generations and generations of like, oh, you can't do this because of that.
I don't know. Have you ever entered a room, right? And it's like I had a girlfriend one time, and she like you enter the room, and there's just this heaviness. So like when you're in the same room with her father and stuff, there's an energy that's just heavy.
Yeah.
And I'm not used to that, but there's certain people that carry that weight over them.
Yeah.
And I even saw a shadow crawling over this girl one time when we were on an acid trip. I used to be big into that stuff, but yeah. And she said, "Don't look at it. Stop looking at it."
I'm sorry. How is that connected?
What?
Was
What's
that
the relevance?
The relevance is that there is stuff that follows around families that knows your grandparents, your great grandparents.
That could have had nothing to do with her family. What if that had to do with her individual person?
I mean, that's possible too. I don't know.
Well, so okay, so what you're saying is like everybody has like a good angel and a bad angel, and basically, or demon that follows you around and has that heavy energy on you to see if you're gonna do it or try to get you to do it.
Well, everyone's tempted by spiritual forces of this world.
Right. But it's just because, the generational curses is very interesting that was brought up because of the fact I had mentioned that before with my family. It seems to be that people that are under, I think it's under 30 keeps passing, but yet every single body that's older is still freaking alive.
Did they I don't know if I can even say it here.
I have
that's not funny. That's an awkward laugh. I'm sorry.
Like, it is wild. Like, I mean, it's like my grandparents, my parents, me, my daughter and her kids. That's 5 generations. They're still alive, and yet the people that are passing are young ones. That's weird, right?
Yes. What were
Passing
the
from what?
I think that has to do with maybe like development. I had a young friend pass at an early age, and I think maybe it was because they were on meds they shouldn't have been, development, or other situations that like hormones.
No,
Or
no,
it
no,
was
no,
just
no, no,
it
no.
was just their time, or
Yeah,
maybe
they're all
again.
different. They're all different situations. From unliving to somebody else unliving them to an accident to accidents, a car accident, and like so. It's like, but they're they're not.
Situation. It's
It's 20s and
situational.
30s. It's weird.
Very.
It's weird, huh?
I said very situational
It's,
for
yeah, it's
sure.
Yeah.
situational.
I mean, an awful lot of people died of suddenly in the past few years. Suddenly, swept through and killed people suddenly.
Right. But the generational curse though, I feel like I've looked into that stuff because I feel like there's something going on with with my family, and I'm like, my kids are in their 20s, and I'm like, if there's anything I need to do to stop that from happening, you know what I mean? Because that's like, it's scary, but it's weird. It's so weird to me. This is just kind of a side thing, but it's super weird.
I I would say, my argument would be that some people have more grace, more time to come to the decision to come to God, and it's like if you hear now, then that would be the call.
My decision to come to God or not is not going to save my family.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, if that was the case, I'm pretty much just here to stick it to
Well,
him and say,
yeah,
"Ha!"
it's
It's
good.
no way.
at the end of the day.
I mean, if you came, then you could save people who still haven't come yet. But
Well,
you
no.
could be part of it. God's still saving, but
According to the scriptures, yes, but I don't feel that me making a decision on if I believe or not is going to save me, because again, would that not be free will that you said that we did not have? So then if you say we do not have free will, then whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I'm destined for whatever then, right?
Yeah.
So does it matter what I do?
well, if
You
you
said
hear
we
his
didn't
voice,
forget.
you'll respond. If you don't hear his voice, you won't respond.
Wait a minute. It's still free will.
Exactly.
Yes. But
Okay,
without,
because you
without
said
ears
we
to
didn't,
hear,
so
are
we
you going to
didn't.
respond?
I'm just gonna make. Hold on a second. So, do we have free will or not?
We live on a rock.
Well, I was just
Out in outer space,
do we
floating
have?
around
Do
the
we,
planet.
I
little
just
tiny
one at a
speck.
time. Hold on a second. Because I just want to make. I just want to clarify because I'm really like trying to understand like his belief system. Do we have free will? Yes or no? That's it. Yes or no? Do we have free will? Start.
So God predestines to salvation.
She
Yeah.
said yes or no.
Jesus
It was
says,
yes or
I
no.
chose
Yes
you,
or
you
no.
did
It
not
was a
choose
yes or
me.
no question.
That's a politician answer.
Yes
That's
or
not free
no?
will then. Yeah,
Do
exactly. It's a
we have
politician
free will or
answer.
not?
So that's
Yeah,
a yes.
Yes. Okay, well,
So that's
okay,
a
yes. Yes, but if
Okay,
you have ears
so
to
then if
hear,
I
you're
have
going
free
to
will,
answer the call of Jesus. If you don't have ears to hear, you're not going to answer the call to Jesus.
But if you're not answering the call to Jesus and you have your free will to call to somebody else, why will you not go to heaven then? If you have free will, then it's okay to speak to somebody else.
I didn't hear him, sorry. What did he say?
repeat that, Rick.
I said, if you have free will and it's okay to have free will, and you call out to somebody else, but then you're not allowed in heaven, how is that free will?
I don't believe that you're not allowed in heaven.
Because you made the wrong decision, maybe.
That's not free will then.
Even though I'm not on that side, but I believe maybe you made the wrong decision.
That's not free will.
That's not free will.
If you got free will, there's no wrong decision.
But I said I don't believe it was the wrong
Dang.
decision. It was the
I
decision you made
believe
from
that-
what you had going on in your head.
I
Okay,
can choose to go to a Circle K and, take all the money out of the register. There's consequences to the actions, but
yeah,
I can still choose to do it.
If you
Mhm.
ask for forgiveness, then are you forgiven?
Not always.
Not always, because we don't really know the extent of it. Okay,
Even
so
like this,
How,
you're dying.
what is your method of getting forgiveness? Who are you saying sorry to, and how are you getting that forgiveness? What is the propitiation for the sins?
because the way I look at it, a sin is a sin is a sin. But
Right.
everything has been changed, right? So now everything's kind of different as far as what really our perception or what we think, I guess, perception of what sin is today. because it has changed. But are we going by what sins are we going by?
Did it change though, or did our standards fall so low?
Our standards fell so low.
So
What-
what's the unchanging standard though? The
Oh,
unchanging standard would be
What-
wait till marriage.
What if when you
know, something
died?
like
What if when you died, none of this mattered anymore? Having a boat, having a car, what if that didn't matter anymore? You just kind of became an energy, and you kind of came together. I think that's like absolution. It's like you realize all that crap was not worth it,
right.
and you come together. I don't know. That's my thought.
No, I like it. Like, I mean, I get that. You know, you come together, and then because in the bigger spectrum of things, like that's what we'd really like to have is like everybody have the same understanding of what this world is and what our life is, right? But at this time, it's a little complicated, and for my life, I'd like to know what's going on. It's my life, and I'm here, and then I want to know what's going on, and I want to know like which direction I have because for the past 20 years, I've been lost, And so trying to figure out where I stand in my world or this world is where I want,
Bless you.
I talk about it. But as far as, I'm just glad that Star made a clarification that we do have free will. So this one.
Well, yeah, but Jesus chooses. So that's
still
where
chooses, so then I'm still destined. Or no, so my life is already planned. So there's no point. My life is already planned.
Is that how you would choose to live it?
No,
Just like
no.
call the whole give up, like
What do you mean?
like okay, say God has a plan and he wants to use you, for example. Do you want him to use you in a way that you will benefit him in a good way, or he could use you in a different way?
So, religious perspective. My wife was a Sunday school teacher, so I take her religious perspective sometimes.
Okay.
And she said that God gave us, he could do all these kind of great things, but we still have free will.
Right.
So that kind of gets rid of the idea that we're set on a path. God gave us free will, is what she says.
Right, because according to the scriptures, God wants you to worship him on your own. He doesn't want to force you to do it, although that's all we get is being forced to believe something. But that's what it was supposed to do. What is that?
Sorry. I'll mute myself, sorry.
Okay.
He's opening a Snickers because he's not himself without one.
Is it a Snickers star? Is it a Snickers? Or chips?
No, I wanted Nathan's hot dogs, but
Oh damn! I was hoping it was a Snickers. I'd have been like,
they
yeah,
work in the air fryer. Surprisingly, they're pretty good.
yeah.
Thank you, Sean, for the roses. So my ex-wife is the daughter of a reverend. Let's just say they still support my heavy metal music.
Hey,
That's good.
nothing wrong with metal music, dude.
No.
The lyrics are what, if the lyrics, you have to pay attention to what the message you want to come out of the music for you. That's how I see it.
Did you guys feel that music, because back when I was younger, right, that was a big issue, was the music and playing the records backwards, and that was allowing something else to come, and that caused a lot of people to be psychotic and go unlive people. Do y'all feel like the music really had something to do with that?
Okay, so I think the biggest issue with music, like back then, was that not only were people thinking that, oh, well, it's satanic and stuff, they were also using a bunch of imagery that had to do with it, like Slayer using the pentagram, Motley Crue, shout at the devil and stuff like that. And the music now is more like, I mean, if you can understand it or read the lyrics, that's a good way to tell. But now, like, it's just so crazy that people don't want to take the time to listen to like read the lyrics or listen to the music, because it's just a bunch of screaming and a lot of instruments at one point.
And the only people that said that it was bad were religious people.
I'll say the one thing though. Have you guys ever listened to Suicide Boys?
Yes.
Do you think that changes the energy of a room?
Yeah.
I think all music changes the energy of the room.
Is that a positive or a negative energy?
I agree with Misty. I think all
It
music
depends on the
changes
music.
the energy. I don't think it's just them.
Mm-mm.
I think maybe you're leaning towards them because they're super negative, although I've never even listened to them alone. I've heard maybe one or two of their songs, if that. But I think that all music has that power.
Just to me, like I'm a lyric guy, and so I pay attention to lyrics, but I'm starting to play instruments, right? So now I can see, okay, well, I can see how people could just listen to the instruments and try to block out the lyrics they disagree with. You know, I don't, but there are some people in the Christian community who literally believe that every time when someone records, they get out, they draw this satanic circle, they perform an open sacrifice on some child or something, and they attach demons to every record or every track. And it's like, I don't believe that. I don't think that's true, but
You
some
have a
do.
little static coming off of your thing.
Might
There's
be
also a
sick.
belief that a lot of music has frequencies put into it, like that we can't hear, but it influences us, which is actually interesting. But I'm not sure how much I actually believe it.
That's actually true. Our
Well,
bodies will,
let's not get into conspiracy theory. We'll
it's
do
not a
it all night.
conspiracy
It's
theory.
conspiracy
Our bodies
night.
will react.
Conspiracy night, so-
Conspiracy night. Mhm.
So, like,
I'm gonna let Mike
Let
finish
Misty
though.
talk.
I'm gonna
Our
let
bo-
Mike finish. I'm gonna let Mike finish, but this is conspiracy night. Go ahead, Mike.
Our bodies will react to different frequencies. I'm sure, I don't know if you ever heard of the brown note. There's a bass note that is so deep that it will literally make you crap your pants.
I can't hear. I can't hear that. Can't hear that. I'm
There-
prone to shitting my pants.
There is
So,
also a
sorry.
frequency that the military uses now that will make people vomit when it's played to disperse riots.
Wow.
That's true.
Yeah,
I
that's-
know that
yeah,
is
that's
actually true.
interesting.
So frequencies will. That's the whole thing with the chakra and the bowls and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Every part of your body will react to a different frequency
Yep.
and will make that organ or that part of your nervous system react as such.
Yep.
And that's fact. I mean, that's scientific fact. Like it's real.
It is. I've seen it.
I mean, and like the best way to visually see
We can't
music.
hear you, Rick. You're on mute. Rick, you're on mute.
I could hear him.
I don't know how to. Yeah, I mean, I saw the little crisscross thing. And
No, I
I
heard
don't-
Tater. I didn't hear Rick.
I'm a virgin here.
Okay. Wait, what?
What I was saying is to try and blame music or a fraction of something for what you've done or what
Mhm.
you chose to do is crap.
Yeah.
It's not the gun. It's not Marilyn Manson. It's not Britney Spears' fault. It's your choice. You wanted to go shoot up a school because you're defective in some way. That was your choice.
Yeah.
It's, it sucks that people choose to do things like that. And the way and how it is now, I'm going to be remembered for doing this heinous thing. I'm 42. I was born in 82, so I think going to be 43 or whatever. But, we used to drink from hoses. We used to play outside, everything else like that. I mean,
What? I'll ask the hard question.
Hold on. I'm gonna let him finish, please. I want him to finish. Go ahead,
people
Rick.
need to stop blaming other things for their choices.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it's not God's fault. It's not this person's fault. It's not music's fault. You made your choice. You got to live with it. Whatever choice you make, there's going to be a good outcome and a bad outcome from it. And you just need to learn how to accept it. And it's not somebody else's fault. It's your choice at the end of the day. But to blame everything or try and ask for forgiveness for something, it's something that you ultimately chose to do and put yourself down your own path. Because nobody was going to save you but yourself at the end of the day.
True. And Tater, go ahead and finish yours as well, Tater. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
Yeah,
you're good.
what I was saying is a good way to visually see like what kind of energy a song has is, I mean, you go to a rock show, you've got people jumping up and down, smashing up against each other. You go to a Taylor Swift show, you've just got a bunch of people sitting there dancing, crying, just singing their songs. You go
Well,
to like an EDM show, you've got a bunch of people jumping up and down, dancing, and
Yeah.
having a good time. So it's, I mean, I guess I wouldn't consider it like a frequency that they're hearing, or a specific frequency that they're hearing that causes that. It's just the energy the music puts out. Because I mean, you can have like a hard as shit song and it not be like very aggressive sounding,
Mm-hmm.
and then
there's
you can
there's
have,
Christian bands that they do the heavy distortion and screams, and though
yeah,
the lyrics though are like, I'm like, this to me is too a little too heavy. I like more clean vocals. I don't mind some screams, but a little too
yeah,
heavy for me. But I have friends who love it.
You would
like
not like Cannibal Corpse then.
you've got, yeah, Cannibal Corpse is crazy. But you've got like Norma Jean, Devil Wears Prada, Oh Sleeper, Memphis Mayfire used to be a Christian band. They still kind of are, but now they're more like going away from
Firehouse.
like just talking about, yeah. Skillet,
Mm-hmm.
um, all really good bands. I'll admit I'm not a big fan of Skillet. Don't really like their music that much.
Was it
But
Hanson that started off as a church band as well?
who?
Hanson?
Hanson? Yeah.
That
Thanks, like,
1,000 Foot Crutch is also good.
Also, Bieber was started off in church.
Thanks for letting me in, guys.
But what is about? Go ahead, Tater. I wanted to hear the ending of your. What were you saying?
oh, I was just saying, like, those are just examples of like heavy Christian bands that like Oh Sleeper. Me and one of my friends went to one of their concerts. Before they went on, there was a band that was kind of closing out or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and they were in the middle of a breakdown, and he was like, "I'm gonna do something stupid," and walk straight through the middle of this breakdown. Got knocked out, and woke up at the end of Oh Sleeper's set.
Jeez.
And there was a few people that got knocked out during O Sleeper's set.
Well, I
And
mean,
they're
Jesus would do
Christian.
the same, right? Isn't that the same?
Yeah, dude, Jesus moshed.
Yeah, Jesus wouldn't mess around if someone's like spills his drink, right?
Yeah, fill that
Just
bitch
joking.
back
What do
up.
you guys? So I just got into this. Like, what are you guys actually talking about? Like this, like Christian music compared to vibes, compared to like I don't know. I'm just trying to catch
Okay.
up.
Oh no, we were. Well, I mean, it started. You know how whenever you do conspiracy, it just kind of goes in the
Oh
rabbit
God.
hole, right? We got down to the bottom of music and if it had any kind of
Like
ability
sway
to
on
make,
how people are. Is that what you're saying?
huh?
Like sway on like how people act and how people like
Yeah,
like
how because
behave.
people used to think about that music was the reason why bad people were doing bad things.
Oh,
Most people
yeah,
were
like
doing
in
bad
like the
things.
'90s and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I
That's
mean,
stuff.
like it's also a long time ago.
It
That,
doesn't
that,
matter. It's just the fact of the topic. It doesn't matter if it was a long time ago because we were talking about even God, and that's how long ago is God. He's still
Yeah,
relevant
music's
today
an
in some
important
people's
thing to
minds.
humanity. I feel, right?
It was just,
Like
huh?
I said, music's super important to like being a human. Like we're the only. I don't know if you guys. Like, yeah, it sounds like you guys are super religious, but like
I'm not
we're also
religious.
animals, just like everything else. Like it's not like monkeys are like playing the drums or anything like that, you know?
Yeah, not one. I'm not religious. There's a lot of us that aren't. Some are
Well, it sounds
spiritual,
like it.
some are not. But
From what I just jumped in. That's what I'm
right.
hearing. Like this guy talking about like breakfast skillets and stuff, and it's like a band apparently. I didn't know that was a band.
Okay, so what did you want to come up for?
I don't know, just to talk and like see what you guys are talking about. Just to
Okay.
join the conversation.
So our conversation is really it's conspiracy, and we've been talking about free will. We've talked about because that kind of went with free will on either these people made a choice to do what they did based off of music or free will.
Okay, so here's a point. Like, is free will the same as it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago? Now, like, you get ads on your phone for everything. So, like, everything's pushing you to do something or buy something. So, is there actually free will anymore?
yeah, and how many people are addicted to porn, and how does that affect their free will to
Okay,
lust after?
curveball.
Okay, go.
I mean, I wasn't expecting you to
Like,
bring
why do
up porn.
people
Go
like
ahead.
coke in the wintertime than summer?
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna let what is it? Can you say your name for me?
Who are you talking to? Me?
Yes, you. Sorry.
Gertbag.
Gertbag. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to hear what you had to say about what Star said.
Well, so wait, remind me who started. Let me look. I gotta look at the
right
pictures.
at the corner at the top right there. So go ahead and ask that question again.
Yeah, do that again.
So he was talking about like ads and stuff on your phone,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And like before, you know, if you were going to go to get pornography, you'd have to walk into a store. There'd be the shame involved with that. Now, people get force-fed stuff on things like Snapchat that is like porn light,
Okay.
and get added by prostitutes, stuff like that. And so
Well,
they're
I mean, that's
constantly
like
in this
they're just
state
trying
of
to get your
trigger.
money.
But you still have a choice to either click on it or not. That's free will. You still have a choice.
Yes,
Also,
but
I feel like
you're,
you
it's
have targeted
influenced.
ads where like you're probably getting some of those on purpose. But I mean, yeah, it's
Technically.
everything is targeted, right? Like, who here has not like thought like, oh, I need paper towels or something, and then all of a sudden you see like, oh, a bounty ad, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, why would I see this like literally 2 seconds after I thought about me buying paper towels? So there's like algorithms and stuff. Even this whole app is all algorithms.
Okay,
So,
but
like,
that's not what that's
That's
not the
not free
question
will.
though. But that wasn't the
oh
question.
yeah,
You
yeah,
said,
okay.
is it free will? Is free will the same now than it was before?
Oh yeah,
right?
that was my
Free will is
original
free
question.
will.
Yeah.
So I just want to get back to that part, right? So free will is so you still have a choice, I believe, right? You guys, I feel
Yeah.
like it's a choice still. I don't think that just because they're pushing it means I don't have the choice anymore to make
I
But
that.
can
it's
agree
just
though
having
that it
influence.
makes the choice a little more difficult when
Yeah,
you're seeing it in front of you every single second, right?
that's true.
So like if you're not reminded of something, you're not going to think about it. And that's the whole reason that advertising is a thing. Like how like Coca-Cola still advertises. Like everyone knows what a Coca-Cola is, but like they're obviously still advertising because you have to like let's say they don't advertise for 100 years, people are going to forget about Coca-Cola, you know? Like you have to like keep it in front of people in order to like basically remind people like, oh yeah, you do need paper towels, or yeah, you need to buy a can of Coke, or you know what I mean? Like I don't know, that's basically what I'm saying. So like yes, free will is a thing. Yes, at the end of the day you have your own decision and you make your own choices, but they try their best to guide your choices is
Who
basically what
does?
I'm,
Oh
Not
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know,
yeah, yeah,
corporations, like
yeah,
everything, like people trying to
Not
make you
mine.
spend money.
yeah,
That gets into self-control and self-discipline
Yeah,
yeah.
which
and
the
restraint.
majority of people don't have, right? You do a percentage. What, like I would say, I mean, being generous, say 40% of people have self-control. Like the majority of people are not, you know, like they are just kind of like, oh my God, there's like this awesome sale on these paper towels. Oh my God, there's one size paper towel I can split into two different ones and it absorbs an entire thing. If my son, my toddler spills some juice, I can clean it up. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit is basically what I'm saying.
Okay.
So
Mike,
I'm like,
Mike, go ahead and
ranting.
finish what you were saying, please.
Yeah,
That's all I was saying.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
it comes down to
I'm
that.
agreeing.
It's
Yeah, I'm
really
agreeing
not
with them.
free will. Free, like buying something that's a necessity isn't taking away your free will.
Well, no, I mean, paper towels may be a bad example, but like, say it's I don't know, like a kind of beer you drink or something, like Bud Light compared to like Miller Lite or something. You know what I mean? Like, you're making a choice at the store, and it's reminding you because you saw that one commercial with Taylor Swift, and then that sad song came on where she broke up with her boyfriend, and you're like, oh, you know what? Maybe I should drink that Bud Light.
I was
At the
basically
end of the
saying,
day, at the end of the day, you're influenced, but you still have the choice to make. It's
Oh
still
yeah,
Yeah,
free
that's what
100%.
we're
will.
Right.
talking about is free
But
will.
you,
But
and you have to
100%.
make choices before the temptation comes to cut the temptation from even happening in the first place.
Well, yeah,
So
but that's
like,
part of life. That's
yeah,
just life, period. Like if you're in junior high, and then like let's say you're like, oh, really good student, and then like all of a sudden you make friends with someone who's like maybe like, oh, this guy is 14 years old and he smokes weed. Oh my God, he's super cool. You know what I mean? And he's like gonna try to like, you know, you want to be cool too. You want to conform. Humanity is all about conformity and like the Joneses, right? Like oh my buddy bought this awesome TV. Like maybe I should buy a new TV. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of bullshit, honestly, though, because like, you know what, man? Like let's just like grow tomatoes in our backyard and like have chickens and just eat eggs and stuff. You know, like. And then grow maize. That's what the Indian name for corn.
I would say I think it's more of just influence than it is like
Well,
free will.
yeah.
Because I mean, technically you still have the option to not do that,
Well, yeah, 100%.
but since you've got the influence of somebody you know, buying a big TV or, you know, choosing a certain paper towel, you're like, oh, okay, well, I've seen them use that. It looks good. I'll get it too.
Here's a good example. So, like, let's say that I really love jean shorts, right? I'm super fan of jorts, big fan of jean shorts, right? Jean shorts are like, I am personally not, but I'm just using this as an example, right? So,
You don't
like,
got a lot of
jean
us.
shorts are not like, obviously, like, not, if you go to the bar wearing some jeans, depending on where you're going to the bar, actually, that's probably a good preface. But, like, let's say if you're like in New York and you're going in like some like nice club in New York and you show up in line with jean shorts on, you know what? Like, you're not going to probably wear those jean shorts because it's not accepted by society to wear jorts nowadays. You know what I mean? Even cargo pants. Dude, I used to love cargo pants back. Also,
Hold on. I'm going to let you know that we definitely let everybody speak. Okay, we don't want to
sorry,
take.
I'm,
Yes,
I'm, I'm
we just
steamrolling. I
we want to
apologize.
stay. We just kind of want to stay like where we're at with you know, the topic. It does kind of go down a rabbit hole sometimes, and we'll continue on like that. But I don't want just one person kind of taking over. Okay,
No,
so
I get
I'll
it.
let
I get
others
it.
speak. Let me
I'll
say hi to Jimmy.
Thanks
Hello,
for
Jimmy.
mediating.
I'm not joining any bars that has numbers on it. I'm just letting y'all know.
Okay, how are you doing? Where are you at?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Okay, nice. Well, we were, you know, I don't know what all you caught or what what we've been talking about. Did you have anything about what we were saying, or do you need a quick recap?
Oh no, I kind of like jumped in on the ass end of it.
Well, we were just talking about a lot of it was about free will, you know, or do you feel like we're predestined, or that we're just destined for our lives, that it doesn't matter what we do, that there's just one path, or?
Well, I don't know about anybody else, but for me, it's like I just take every day as it is.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not going to sit there for me, honestly, I'm not going to sit there and do something because everybody else is doing it.
Right.
When everybody else is trying pot, I was smoking meth.
This is what I was going to say about what Gert said. Is he said conformity is the way of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
If that was the
How
case,
are you,
we would all
Mikey?
be the same. Free will is what makes us all different.
Yeah.
How are you guys?
Hi, how are you?
All are fine. Basti. Thank you. Thank you.
What do you have on free will and destiny?
I'll jump in first.
Okay, go ahead.
Let Jimmy. Whatever. Or
No,
am I
I'm
on?
done. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, I'm glad that you're here. Okay, I can't. There was like some other like the boxes were going up. So I guess okay. So I'm still trying to understand. So Star, free will is something that that we could still use to be saved or not, right? Instead of having just a complete destined path that's already laid out for us.
Well, God, the Bible teaches that God predestined to salvation those who would believe. Like,
So then, okay. So
like
with
he,
that,
he
then
chose. You're either his sheep or you're the goats.
no. Well, then that would be
Yeah, I
a
don't believe in
free
that.
will, then, though, wouldn't it? Because if God made a plan for me, and it's going to go the way that He wants it to go, then what difference does it make what I do?
Exactly.
Now, according to his plan, you could be part of his plan.
Hey guys, I'll be right back. I got a call.
Thank you, Rick.
No matter what, you're going to be part of his plan. That's the thing.
So no matter what, I'm part of His plan.
Yes, vessel of honor or vessel of wrath. That's
But
what Romans teaches.
right, and then that's free will, though, right? Yeah.
Well, God, why did you make me this way?
That's not the question I'm asking, though. I'm not asking God why God created me this way. I'm asking if I have a choice to go this way or that way.
Yes,
Okay, so
but
then
you don't have a choice whether you have ears to hear or not.
ears to hear
What?
meaning ears to hear meaning what? like ever. If I don't have the choice to know if I'm gonna go God's direction because He's the one that only chooses if I get to understand it in my brain or not.
Yes, Peter did not know who
No.
Jesus was on his own accord. He was revealed to him by the Father.
So what about people that don't even know or don't get a chance to know?
I don't like that.
Yeah.
That,
What
no
about
matter
people
what,
that
that's a
do not get to know?
problem. That's a problem no matter what. There's people who live in places where they're never going to hear the gospel unless God comes to them in a dream. That's still
No,
a
that's
problem.
bullshit. That is bullshit. That is bullshit. 100%. I'm sorry.
Phone call real
No,
quick.
go,
I just
hold
didn't
on.
want to be rude. I'll be back in a minute
That's
if
fine.
you'll have me.
You're good. You're good. Go ahead, that girl. I want her to finish what her thought was. Go ahead.
I just think that's fucking bullshit. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Go ahead. No, why? Why? Go ahead.
Just because I think that unless you've heard the gospel, then you're like, I don't believe that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so God's gonna torture me.
Because you haven't
My
gotten the
soul.
chance to hear anything.
How does he yet find fault? This is what Romans 9 teaches.
So God's gonna torture
Who
me.
are you
and
to
my
question
soul
God, oh man?
because
Oh
he
no. We're
disobeyed.
not gonna do that one again because there's a scripture that states that God says you could ask me, keep on knocking and you shall find, keep on seeking and you will find. He says that.
Yeah.
God says that. So
Do you
God
want
never
to
said
seek?
that you can't
Do
question
you
him.
want to seek? Do you want to find? Or do you not?
Exactly. And God even said, go ahead and test it. Test me and see. God even said that in the scriptures. So that
Yes.
we're allowed to ask that question.
But if you have no desire to,
Yes, you do. Why else would we be asking it or trying to even figure it out? Or, if somebody's passionate and saying it's bullshit, it's because they went through something that probably, or that just doesn't make sense because you're basically saying, I have no chance then. So it's going to be passionate because it's our lives. So
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
the
does it bother you enough to go with your full heart towards him, or does it not bother you enough to go
But
with
your
your full
full
heart
heart
towards him?
doesn't go towards that.
Yeah, but I don't know what this guy means. Like, so like you're like it's almost to the point where like it's overbearing, where it's like you're like if you guys when I first popped on here, we were talking about free will, and I was like talking about commercials and paper towels and stuff, but like I had no idea this was the conversation. So like, yes, there is obviously free will, and like you're saying that God dictates everything, right? Like it's basically whatever happens to you like you. I'm just gonna ask you as an example. That's because it's God's will. Is that your basic like theory of life? Like you like get your leg bit off by a shark and like,
Yes.
oh, God wanted that to
I've actually
happen.
literally thought of this. Yes. I've literally thought of this. Yes.
Really, like it's just a weird way to live life. And no offense, I mean, like everyone's
Yeah.
entitled to do their own thing, but like I don't know, like I feel like I want, and yes, maybe there is a God, maybe there isn't. Who knows? Nobody knows, right? That's the crazy thing, is we have
I
no
believe
idea
I
what
had to
happens.
do something to nature to inflict that wound upon myself.
Yeah, it's karma. I believe more in karma than
Thank
anything
you.
else.
Yeah.
Like,
You reap
Thank
what you sow.
you.
That's still true.
This is
You
the
reap what you
Native
sow.
Dude, I went to Catholic school until I was in 5th grade, right? And like just beaten like Jesus. Like I was going to mass every morning, 5 days a week, dude. Like it's just so overbearing. Or like yes, and that's like one thing I do see from people that are super religious is that like you guys form your entire life about like yes, and it's good that there are good principles of what God does. Yes, treat everybody with respect. Like it's your friend is your neighbor. Like there are good aspects to that, but that's every religion, right? Every religion has that same baseline, not to be a dick, right? Don't be a dick is basically what it is. So like, I don't know why. What do you believe in? Like is God the same God for all religions, or is there like a Buddhist God? Is there like a Christian God? Is there a Lutheran God? Like what's your outlook on that?
There's only one God, but there's different sets of beliefs, and people believe in false gods.
What do you mean by
But
false God?
They make
So-
it up in their
So
head.
you're not right. So you're not right unless you believe what I believe.
But because
That's what I don't like about Christianity.
Yes,
is like
exactly.
hold on one second. Because we stated that there was no other gods. Didn't you say
Yes.
that there was no other gods, right? There was
Yes.
only one.
Yes,
But
there's no
then-
other gods.
You
You
just
believe in
said that there
dinosaurs?
were.
false gods is just this idea. See, like that guy said, his microwave is God. That doesn't make it God. It's
So
a
it's
false
false
god.
god.
Well, that's like a
Yeah.
terrible example. I'm talking about like a Buddha, like I'm talking about like, you know, like Shiva or like, you know, like other actual like religions, like legitimate people who follow religions, gods. Not like
Right.
a microwave, dude. I'm not talking about a fucking
Right.
microwave.
No, the way that the
But
way
there's got to be one objective truth.
but the way that I see it, to answer that question, and again, I'm not religious person by any means, but
Yeah.
if you take most of the religions out there, right, they all have that same, it's the same concept, it's the same topic, and it's the same, you know, they all believe that their God is that God in the Bible.
Well, I don't know. I mean, not Buddhist. I feel like if I were gonna be,
That,
I'm
yeah,
not. I'm
besides
agnostic,
Buddhist, yeah.
but
Like
like,
disobeyed the same God as he disobeyed?
Huh? What was that, Jimmy?
So you mean to tell me the devil is going to torture and burn my soul if I disobey the same God he disobeyed?
No,
never
no,
said
the
that.
devil's going
Who
to be
said
there
that?
burning and tortured with you if you do that.
Nobody said that,
Jimmy,
Jimmy.
Jimmy's jaded, by the way.
I'm just saying somebody's lying on that point because
Nobody
there's no
said that.
way there's no way the devil's going to torture me.
No, the devil's going
You
in
know
like
what
a
I'm saying?
fire.
He's not going to sit there and torture me for disobeying the same God that he disobeyed. Somebody's lying on that point.
No, he'd be with you. We'd be
No,
together.
he's not, because there's no such place as a place of torment that's fiery and stuff like that. That's
So,
a lot of
so
that stuff is
you would have to
metaphorical.
disagree with
rules
Jesus
hell?
and
Yeah,
his
but we only
metaphor.
know what
You would,
we know.
you would at least have to say there's some metaphor
So
where
who,
there's
who
weeping.
rules hell?
Okay, one at a time.
Yeah, please, guys. Hello, Aaron.
What's up?
Okay, Jimmy, you go. Jimmy, you go, and then we'll go
Yes,
back.
me. Yes, you like. How about you just tell us who to take turns? I feel like that would be the better way to
Hey,
do
I
this.
used to do that all the time. We could do it where it's like a box, and then if you don't have anything to say, you pass. Jimmy will go. Aaron, Rick, Getterberg,
we'll just
that
say
girl,
pass, right?
Matt. We'll go that way because
works.
that's what happens. We'll just go that way. But
Yeah.
please remember, do not take over
This is a good
freaking minutes
conversation.
to
I don't
talk.
want this to like result into like an argument where
It's
like
not going
people.
to. It's
Yeah,
not
I
going
don't
to.
want
I
that
won't
to
let
happen.
it. Thank you. Go, Jimmy.
Who rules hell?
Okay, so who rules hell? We'll go from there, and we're gonna go ahead. Aaron,
What?
Jimmy wants to know who rules hell.
Who rules hell? I mean, isn't the devil? Wasn't he like one of the
Okay, there we
gods?
go. Crown and thorns. There it is.
What you asked? Well, hold on. We're everybody's getting their thought, and we'll come back to you and then see what you think about some of the answers. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I've never read the Bible all the way through, but I mean, isn't it like just like the devil was one of God's angels at one point or some shit like that?
Yeah,
That's
So,
what.
I don't,
I'll be right back.
what?
That's one of the stories.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I can't really answer on that because I don't really know how to answer that because I'm not too familiar with that.
The scriptures do say that, so you're right on that thinking of right there. So hold on, Jimmy, because I actually want to. Okay, why are you asking though? Who rules hell? Why? Just to add more to it. Why?
Well, I mean, I don't believe that, I just don't believe that if I get sent to hell that I'm going to get, I'm going to suffer
Oh, okay. Okay.
a hell and brimstone, burning a lake of fire.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, for disobeying the same God that he disobeyed.
Okay, gotcha. That's the question. That's a good question. So, do you feel like we're gonna burn, or that would be a place? Okay, gotcha. Anybody have an answer for that, or want to talk on that? So that who does that way we could go in order here. Okay, Rick, you can start first. Go.
I mean, more or less, like I had said before, like it's how can you feel like you're gonna go to hell for somebody saying you shouldn't do that lets little kids get killed.
Okay. Yeah, right.
where's
All right,
the-
who has an answer to that one?
So I feel like what you're basically saying is that like if God is so all knowing and like makes the right decisions all the time, why
But that's what
does
it says in the
he
Bible
give
that he is.
cancer to a 3-year-old kid? You know what I mean? Like that, I feel like that's maybe what you're saying. And like, yeah, that's a good, fucking great question. And honestly, let's refer
Okay,
to
no,
the
no,
guy
no,
who's
that's not
been
what he's
talking about
asking.
Jesus.
That's weird. He
Uh,
didn't say that.
well,
He
I mean,
said,
like, I feel
why
like
does he have to go? Why would he need to be in a place of torment and fire and be tortured by the same person who disobeyed God? There had nothing to do with all the other stuff
didn't
he
you?
just said.
I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood. Rick, I thought you maybe were like alluding to that. I apologize if you were not.
Well, man, you don't have to apologize for nothing. It's your opinion. You're all good, man.
Well, no, not opinion. I'm just saying, like, that's what I
Oh,
thought you
well,
were
good.
saying by that. What you were
Don't
saying.
apologize for your answer. It's your
Okay, go
thing.
ahead.
It's all good.
You're right. I gotta stop apologizing.
I'm not. I don't get offended about nothing.
No, man, you shouldn't. Nobody should really.
Okay.
I'm offended by these stairs and my fat ass, but that's about it.
Matt,
Cardio,
what
bro.
did you have to say, Matt? Or Gettysburg, are you done, or did you still want to go on? About if there's a place that wait, yeah, I'm confused now. If there was a place of torment where Satan is, or do we have to go to that place if we disobey?
Scare
Like a hell.
tactics.
Is there a hell? Is basically what he's asking, right?
Yeah, yeah. Or do you think there is one, or
No, I don't.
that girl? Do you have something?
Maybe a version of hell, but maybe
No, I
not
was
like
kinda
fire and brimstone. It's probably like
dumbfounded here. So
Dumbfounded by what?
so that girl, by the way, I feel like she's got the same outlook. Like maybe you get reincarnated, maybe you become a plant or something like that. Or you know what? Maybe like you get shot, maybe your spirit gets there. I feel like there is a soul though, right? I feel like that's kind of a thing, right? But like maybe that gets like shot off into space and then you become some cool alien, right? Who knows
Well,
what
let's
happens?
see what she believes, and she could say what she believes. Go ahead.
I don't think it's anything like that. I
Yeah.
just think that there's good karma and bad karma, and whatever you do, like you have good coming or you had bad coming.
Yeah.
And me and Rick have already discussed that. So
Yeah, yeah. Matt, what do you think about the hell and tormented place?
It is to me is scare tactics.
Mm-hmm.
Either or, like, be good, do what I do, go to heaven. Be bad, go to hell, burn for life, for eternity.
Conformity.
It's like, yeah, it's scare tactics.
That's what I feel. Because I'm more on that way with that girl as far as karma goes. You know, good karma will come to you if you do good, and then bad if you do bad. I don't think that there's a place of torment. If anything, I think this place is hell, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, maybe
Star-
we're all actually in hell. Oh my
Star,
god, wouldn't that
it's Star's
suck?
turn.
So
We're doing pretty well though, I guess.
We're
for
getting
being in
there.
hell.
the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. If you have no reason to fear Him, where would your wisdom come from?
Okay, so with
but what is the bad excuse for bad behavior?
That's a good one. Hold that one, that girl, hold that one up for me. So with the fear though, the way I would look at the fear of God would be like a parent, right? I don't want to disappoint my parent, so I'm gonna fear disappointing them. I'm not gonna want that love. I don't want my kids to love me out of fear of being scared something bad's gonna happen to them. I want them to fear that I'm gonna they're gonna disappoint me or something like that. That's
No,
how I
or to
felt.
like understand what they're doing is actually wrong for the reason that they should understand it's wrong, not
Right,
because
so-
they're afraid of God punishing them for doing something wrong.
Exactly. And so I don't think that would be right for God to be like that.
So why do you think that Jesus said that there'll be weeping and gnashing of
Why
teeth?
is God so into punishing people? By the way,
Hold on one second. Please let
Sorry.
let him finish. What was that, Star? Please ask that again.
So why do you think that Jesus said there's the broad way to hell, as in most people are going there, and he said things like there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth? Any way you look at it, if you're weeping and gnashing your teeth, is that a happy place?
Okay, but that is also an explanation for something. You have to read the whole context and not just use that one little piece of
Yeah,
it,
you're
though.
good.
That's not the whole context. That's not the whole thing as to why that was being said. Okay,
he's got like the Wikipedia, or he's got the Bible in front of him. He's just like
No,
opening pages and stuff.
I remember.
No, it's fine. No, it's good that you remember, and it's fantastic that you do, because there's some that I don't, but I know the context of it, what it means. I'm not going to say that I know the word for word, because I could pull it up and I could have a Bible. And it's okay, but stop, Gettysburg. I swear, the next time I'm going to put you down, dude. Please stop. Okay, so if you want to be part of this conversation. Now, and it's okay if you have the Bible there. That's good, because I have mine actually right here too. So it's okay, Star, if you have that. That's not a big deal. But It's just that when he said that, he did say we were going to be going like that. We're going to feel like that because of our own sins and our own perfections of what we do. There's things that I am not happy that I did. And it kills me, or it gets to me. That's what he was explaining in that scripture. That's not explaining hell itself, though, in the place of torment, if that's the right place or if it exists.
Weeping and gnashing of teeth are smoke that rises forever.
It's not. Again, you also got to look at some of these things are also metaphorically speaking. It's not all of it's literal
A
in the
self-help.
scriptures.
Tortured in the presence of God's elect and the angels.
What are you trying? You're trying to tell me that that one is real and then one is okay. Some of this stuff is metaphorical speaking, right? Some of it is. It's not. Do you honestly think if God would allow, if you're the loving God would allow people to just burn and be tormented the rest of their lives?
Yes. I believe it. God can make things any way he wants to.
I don't
He has
think
the
God would
authority
do
as
that.
God. I don't have the
I don't
authority to
think
tell
God
God
would do
how he
that.
should run things here.
God did
But
raise
God
the
would
dead.
not do that. If he loves
Can you
us
put
and
in a
he
good
loves
word
the
for
way
me?
that it is said, there's no way God would do that.
God raised the dead.
Like zombies?
But he's not going to make a place of torment like that.
Right,
Why
but
would
he
do
also
that?
brought the flood, and he
But
also destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah.
When Jesus Christ was crucified, right, and then he died, like, and the earth shook, the dead rose again.
That's a Mandela effect for me. That was never there.
That's
Berenstain Bears.
resurrection.
Wait, what?
That's
Yeah,
a Mandela
it's in the
effect.
Bible,
There was never, that did not happen yet. The dead were not raised until
So you
the
can
last
pick and
day.
choose what you
Yeah.
believe to happen and not happen?
I read Matthew as a child, and there was
Nelson
never a
Mandela.
story about the dead being raised at Jesus' resurrection. Jesus was the first resurrected one of the, like, after he died on the cross, he was resurrected. Other than like Lazarus and I think there was a boy with Elijah
Yes.
that was brought
Can I
back.
say something after this, please?
Yes, go for it.
So that Mandela effect thing, right? You're talking about that's a Mandela effect.
Yes,
So like,
that's a Mandela effect. for
what
me.
is to stop? Okay, yes, you're maybe think this is a Mandela effect. What's to stop like 20 years from now? Like the Christian church decides to change something else, and then they like say, oh no, that actually didn't happen, but like it maybe did happen, but like they changed it. So like now they're just like not going to acknowledge it, and then they're going to just label it as a Mandela effect. So it's like it becomes this like slippery road where like things can be created, and that's like kind of what religion is a little bit, is control. Yes, the basis of religion is good. Be a good person. Don't be a dick. Be nice to people. That's great. That's awesome thing to do to people. But like also people devote their lives to it where they have you have it memorized, dude. Where like you're that invested in it, like it's like some kind of like like it's One Piece anime or something like that, and you're like super into like Luffy and you know like all of
it's
his
a good
Gundams
anime.
and stuff. Yeah, it is good, but like you know what I mean. Like it's like you're using like it's almost like there's lore to it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where like it could be changed in an instant, depending on what the writers want to happen.
All right, we're gonna let Rick go. Rick, go ahead. I know you've been waiting
Sorry,
for a while.
I'm dying over here before like it's
Rick
too
and then Matthew or Matt. Yeah.
But I wanted to say on the standpoint is it's like I've done a lot of bad in my life to where if there were a heaven and a hell, I'd be going there. And I feel my asking for forgiveness wouldn't be enough for some of the bad things that I've done or my choices that I've made, and I'd live with that.
Yeah.
But on the second hand, when you create that heaven or hell where you decide of where you're supposed to go, why is something given more control? Or when that good person, God, from what I've read, he's killed more people than the devil has.
That's true. In the scriptures, that is
So,
true.
But it was the right people.
but
Even
No.
information, so your soul will just be re-endowed,
Yeah.
and you have to relearn the lessons that you
Like
did
I
not
said, you'll
learn.
become like some
But
alien or something.
but you're
That's-
relearning stuff that didn't matter because you don't
like
remember
little
who you were
infants
before.
drowning in the flood and kittens and cats and dogs, like all that's okay.
Babies that didn't even, how do we know if they were good or bad? They're babies.
That's just like saying squish, squish, squish. You know, like, hey, I hate you.
Let me
I
let
hate
Matthew go next
you.
because
Let
Matthew.
Starbucks
Go
say
ahead.
so. Like
Did
that's
you
that.
have something, Matthew, or no? No.
What's that?
Please, one at a time.
I'm sorry.
Yes, Matthew.
That's what I'm saying. It's just one at a time.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
hard with like 6 people
I
or
know
whatever.
we get so passionate. I know, guys, we get so
What's the
passionate.
topic of conversation?
Everything.
Well, we're still on the religious. We're still on this topic, so you know.
Heated.
Huh?
This is not like we're talking about like which paper towels to buy, Bounty or.
Well, that's what it is basically at the end of the day.
I had this
It's your
one.
life. It's
You're
I would
being
want
the
to
product.
understand my life of
Being
what's
sold
going
the
to happen.
product you should
I
buy.
secretly worked for a paper towel company.
Jimmy.
Downey.
Ronnie, dude, Ronnie.
I mean, Scott won't play. I gotta feel it.
All right. So there was also another question. That girl, what was the question again? That was good. From the bottom, the comments.
Let me check.
Okay. Hi, Mama. If you believe the Bible,
Read the Bible, fine. God already closed the
144,000. That's according to the scriptures, those are the ones that are going to heaven, and then
So
the
we're
rest have
screwed.
earthly hope.
Right, but is that the Muslim book, the Jewish book?
That's all the Bibles state that. Look, I don't completely agree with everything that's going on in that thing, but
Quick
that's what it does
That
say.
a lot of people interpret that as an end times group of Jews that are sealed
But it
for
says
salvation.
That's
Quick
like the
question,
VIP
though.
section.
it's in Revelation.
Before God came into the thing, the whole BC thing or whatever else like that, you had Zeus, you
Before
had
Christ.
all these other mythical people and higher powers of different fractions. Where did they all go all of a sudden that these people believed in that created these pyramids or,
Ra.
Zeus shot people? But then when God came about, all them people just disappeared? These were some people's religions.
I don't know. For me personally, I'm not going to trust anything of that timeline because I mean, hell, a burning bush. Come on, man, that's LSD, dude.
My point of it.
Psilocybin, bro.
I mean,
that's a popping.
My
It's like
point
you
of
dropped
it
a
is,
quarter of
Guys,
mushies, and then
guys,
you're in tune with the reality.
it's almost like it's foolishness, right?
What do you mean?
It's almost like God needs to give you eyes to see and ears to hear because it sounds foolish.
No, I think it doesn't because just because I don't believe what you believe doesn't mean that I'm not right.
What happened?
You know.
religion and God and something over you was created to keep you in line, to make you not do good. That's where Zeus and all the other mythical characters in the Roman times were created, for these fractions of castles and people that were trying to control you were created to take what little you had to better themselves. And if you did wrong or if you did this, God's going to strike you down. But you can ask for forgiveness because, it's going to be all right. Just keep feeding the pot at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
Where did I go? Why am I alive?
fractions of higher powers as history has gone on before God and Jesus was created, because we as people have evolved.
Oh, I'm stoned, man. Gosh, I'm right there, dude.
Jimmy.
Jimmy, you're there.
Be careful,
It got
Jimmy.
to the point where there's so many different nationalities as we traveled the planet and went to different continents, that there was different people held in control by others of their people. So everything had to be created something instead of just multiple different things. So if you think about it, at the end of the day, why were these things created? Because just like our government, it's our higher power. Nobody wants to pay taxes, believe me, but it still comes out of your check every week, doesn't it?
Okay. So then, who's next to comment on that? Who wants to do that?
Okay, I could go.
All right, go ahead.
So
I'm muting you guys because there's some static. That's all. It's just static is all. Okay, go ahead.
like I said, before I came to faith, my favorite song was "Believe," and it said the lyrics were "Make me believe it." I dated a Satanist, and she got possessed. I called out to God. She hit the floor. I say the name Jesus. She's seizing. Her eyes are rolling behind her head, and she's begging not to be sent back to hell. And even says, "I know Jesus, but who are you?" So you could rationally say, "Oh, this." I mean, what do you say? Okay, either I'm just mentally insane,
I
or
believe you.
this is the truth.
I believe you. The experience you had, I believe you on that. But I think that what it is that the way that it happened for you still doesn't really, that is different than what I'm saying of certain things in the scriptures, right? Because the scriptures itself of what I'm saying is the same thing you're reading, but it's just trying to come to an understanding of that part. You know what I mean? But because the God that I would want to serve, if there is the one that I would want to serve from the scriptures, not the first part of the scriptures, but the Hebrew part, that would be the one. And then it would be the one that's, not wanting to torture people for forever. You know what I mean?
So why warn people then?
Well, because death, because we are so, when something happens to us and we pass, right? None of us want to, because we're scared. We want to live. We want to have a life. We want to be able to enjoy our families and stuff, so nobody wants to take that route. And that's why, because we do want to live forever. But, it's not, there's no reason to say, I'm going to put you in a place of torment if you don't do right. Everybody has a chance to do so, but then it's contradicting, because the scriptures state that death pays for sin. So then if death pays for sin, why am I going to hell again?
Whose death pays for sin?
The person
Well,
died.
see that right there. I already know whose death pays for sin. We could do that round and round. That's not what I'm saying. You're going to skip over what I'm asking you. Don't do that. I said that this is the God that I would want, right? That's death pays for sin. So why am I being put in hell if I'm done? If death paid for sin, then why am I still going to hell?
Right. Show me the scripture.
That says death pays for sin?
Because she's saying that
Yes,
she wouldn't ask for
your
forgiveness.
death would.
She wouldn't ask for forgiveness. So when she dies,
Not my death. Because of Jesus, when I die, death is paid for sin.
Right.
So when you die, you're right. That's what it states, right?
If you're born again, then you're covered by the blood of Jesus.
Exactly.
why do you
But
gotta get dipped in the water
then
in
what's
order
the
to be the
point?
blood of Jesus?
So then
If you're
why
born
is there
again, isn't getting dipped in the water though. Born again is when you
believe
believe enough
again.
that you have a changed heart, that your actions are changed, that you have a new nature that desires to do good rather than
Yes,
be
I
evil.
agree
So
with
hard
you.
and praying to God that my father was raping my 5-year-old little sister in the same room as me, and I prayed for him to stop multiple different times. Where was God, Jesus, and the rest of them then?
Okay, so that one that's definitely a
It
different
sucks.
thing.
It's horrible. It's a
It is.
horrible
I know,
thing.
it is.
It,
And that
that's
is
heavy.
wrong for sure.
I think
So
there's a parable of that in the seeds where the devil snatches away the seed.
okay,
Isn't that
But that's just justifying some bullshit.
Negative.
it's not it shouldn't be justified.
That's using something to justify it, like why
Yeah.
God
I'm
couldn't
not
be
saying
there.
it's a good thing. Why I didn't say it was a good thing.
Right.
I'm saying that's the devil.
But God is almighty and powerful. Why is he
Right.
gonna let some 4.5-year-old little girl happen to her?
So let's
I don't
and
know.
that's a whole that would
Exactly.
be the bad energy. It's not.
Right.
Let me just answer this one because he's look. There's bad energy. There's good energy, right? In this world. So obviously that's a bad energy that has happened, and it's not a good thing by any means, right? It should not be allowed at all. This Ruby says just because you sin doesn't mean that you're going to hell. That's right, because you have a chance to repent, right? Is that what you agree with, Star? That we do have a chance to repent?
Yes, if you believe in the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ and you are born again.
So I'm supposed to accept the fact that he allowed that to happen to my sister and
No,
go on
that's
with it?
not. That's not. No, that's not
100%
what
no.
we're.
Because my choices that brought to me after that.
That's
Like,
not what we're. That's not what we're saying, though. No, no, we don't. Just because you allow Jesus or you believe in him and his sacrifice does not mean that it was okay for that to happen. I'm gonna let just that girl go ahead and go.
I don't have anything to say.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying something. I'm sorry. Okay. Star. Oh, hey, Katie. She
Uh,
popped in.
I just want to say first off, like I'm not the best with like emotional things, so I'm
Yeah.
sorry about that, Rick.
Okay.
But
no, man, you're all good. You don't got to
yeah,
apologize. I'm not offended. I'm just saying my personal thing. You're good. Believe what you want,
Yeah.
man. You're all right.
yeah.
We go out, have beer and a Tito shot. I mean, it's fine. It's all good. Believe me, you're not hurting my feelings and whatever else. Like I've lived my life.
Yeah.
It's my choice. You know.
But the thing is as far as like the sinning in life and whether hell is real or not.
I just can't buy into the fact that I gotta say I'm sorry. Please help me for all this stuff that you allowed to happen that I was supposed to accept, and now, yeah, I made decisions to try and think to do whatever to help myself, but they were bad in the eyes of you. But so to get into your thing, I gotta sit there and this and that. I ain't trying to be in the cool kids club anyways. Like, come on. I mean, what kind
trust
of
me,
person
we're
has to
not
have
cool.
that such
People hate us.
narcissism that they need somebody to bow down to them to come into this place? But yet you're all loving and caring, but yet we gotta beg you to get into someplace good that you should have been creating a good life for us? Like, come on. That's some cynical shit.
Do you think that sometimes too, though? I mean, because I agree with you, right? And it took me a minute to really get that shit down for myself, because I went through a lot of shit too in life and saw a lot of shit. That I ended up having to look at it in a different direction and just be like, what do I do from here, and how can I fix me and my thought process?
Right. Like, believe me, I read the Bible. I try to figure out, why am I being left in a group home? Why is all this happening to me? Please help me, God. Pray to God for forgiveness and do this and be a good boy.
Because it's you got to take accountability for your own stuff sometimes, and that's the hardest thing, I think. And I think that I had to realize, okay, I did do this wrong. That's why karma bit me in the ass. You know what I mean? Or I did this, but then you start seeing, and it's, it is sometimes our own choices to a certain extent, Some
But
of
when
it
you're
is,
5,
some of it's
6 years
not.
old, it's not your choice.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And I think a lot of us would agree with you on that fact as well. Yeah, absolutely.
My choices after that point, 13, those were my choices,
Yeah. So then at that point, it's like, how do we
Right.
move
And I
forward?
own that shit. I made my choices. I did what I had to do. And I'm not blaming that on anybody else but
Yeah,
myself.
but I do agree with you on that because I don't feel like that is okay for this world to be like that at all.
There are people. I'm not honestly. I'm not one of them who's gone through a lot of rough things. I mean, different ways. I've been bullied all my life, but it's not like like what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like my family, they were pretty good overall, stuff like that. But there are people who have come out of the occult where they were consistently raped and stuff, and they eventually come to Jesus, and
What is the
they
occult?
still have to deal with that issue. Why was this allowed to happen?
Can I ask what the occult is?
Okay, this is my theory on it because it has literally happened to me pretty much my whole life, but it started from the age of 3 and it lasted till the age of 7. At that point, with my uncle, we were living at his house because my mom and dad couldn't afford nowhere to go, so he let us stay with them. Well, they worked nights and he took care of us at night while they worked, and I was the oldest daughter. I felt like it was God trying to make me stronger and to help me understand that there's evil people in this world. He, I don't know how to explain it. He can't be, they say he could be everywhere at the same time.
Mhm.
He could be with
Omnipresent.
everyone at all times. But sometimes I believe that he can't be there sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I'm a true believer. I
Mhm.
mean, when I went to jail when I got grown, I was 30 years old. I was terrified. And they put me in SEG because I put my hands on the girl for torturing me for a week. She knew
Mhm.
I was a fish. She knew I was fresh in there. So she
Mhm.
wanted to test me. So, I mean, for a whole week, I dealt with this girl torturing me. So I put my hands on her. So they put me in SEG. That's the worst thing you can do to somebody that's claustrophobic and scared of the dark. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I cried. I cried and I cried because I did, at that point, I was still confused. I didn't know if he was real. I didn't understand why he was allowing certain things to happen to me, but yet I had already been saved and baptized through the Holy Spirit. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? And I kept saying, why is he still allowing this to happen to me? Read the story of Job. I feel like I'm a female version of Job. He
I'm
never
like
lost his
Hosea,
faith.
so I understand
He
Hosea's story.
never lost his faith. And
Right,
he's
but
in
he
heaven.
got put through so much shit.
Okay. So
Right,
hold on.
right.
Listen to the
But God don't want you to love or worship any other God other than him. He don't want you to worship any other idols other than him. He's a
So
jealous God. He's a very greedy and jealous God, and he wants you to be his and only his. But he wants to test your faith because he don't need another Satan up in heaven. He don't need another Lucifer up in heaven. He had to drop Lucifer, one of his favorite angels, one of his most cherished angels. He had to drop him
so
because he became greedy and wanting to be like God, and he can't be like God.
so that so that
So
that that
God
goes
don't want
into
other people up
that
there
will go
like
into.
that.
I appreciate you speaking, Ruby. Thank you so very much for that. And I'm sorry,
Oh,
but I mean, I have empathy for people that go through all that stuff because again, I've gone through experiences too. But it's tough
it's horrible.
and
It
it's
is
horrible.
absolutely
Um,
horrible. But you know what? I'm stronger now. I'm 51 years old now, but I'm a lot stronger. And one thing I do know, I can peep game now. I can watch out and I can understand when people ain't meaning anything good for me. You know what I'm saying?
that is
I
the
can read
truth.
code. I can understand code, all kinds of stuff because there are evil people in this world. You can't
Yes,
get rid of all of them. But you
it's
got
true.
to watch your back. You got to be very careful at all times,
God is
Absolutely.
no
a
matter what,
transgender.
especially as a
What was that?
female.
What was that, Jimmy?
God is a transgender.
Well, he's not.
It could be. It could be. It could be. He could be. He could be. That girl.
I
What were you
honestly
gonna say?
believe God doesn't have a gender, but what I was going to tell you, what happened to me in SEG, this is why I'm a true believer. I cried and I cried for 4 hours. I cried from the depths of my soul and asked God if he was real to let me know.
Yeah.
Girl, I'm telling you, I felt like a warm blanket came up from behind me and held me all night. I quit crying instantly.
And
And it
that's
just felt like a warm blanket held me for the rest of that night. And I wasn't scared
Yeah,
anymore.
when you feel that presence, it's something else. It's yeah.
No, it was absolutely God because now I have a very discerning
Oh
spirit to
no, I'm
where
not saying
he
that.
can
I'm
communicate
saying
with
like it's
me.
amazing. It's
I
by something
understand
else.
him now.
and then
I don't
also
hear him with my ears, but I can feel him in my soul.
that so I was gonna get that girl. What were you gonna say? Was there a comment or something? Oh, the occult, right?
I was just gonna say that I am a soul believer. I am a Native American believer, so I believe
Yes.
in positive and good karma, and
Yeah.
that is the sole purpose I believe in. Is if I put good in this world, I get good out. Long run term effects. I'm not talking about short term. And if I
Yeah.
put bad in this world, then that's what I'm gonna get out.
That's how I believe as well. And then who said something about the occult? Forget. Chris Kraft said the occult is devil worship. Okay, is it occult or the cult? Because
Well,
there's two.
in the case that I was mentioning specifically, I was talking about like devil worshippers, like where Aleister Crowley teaches, oh
Oh,
well, if you molest a child, it's the most powerful form of magic. You know, sacrifice
mm,
child, like that type of the occult.
okay.
That was what I was talking about.
Okay. Okay, Katie believes that too. Yeah, I'm with you on that one as well, Katie.
I got a response to that, girl.
Okay.
Like I believe that too, but it's like you know, but it's not happening for me. I could keep doing good, keep living my life. Raised my daughter really great. 23 on her own, great job, her own place. Didn't get pregnant in high school. Thank God. Like that was my accomplishment. I
Yeah.
had my own company, great on that. Got screwed over on a job, had to close my company somewhere else. I take my hits, I roll with, I keep going on. It is what it is. But when's the good gonna come if having your faith in that instead of having the faith in yourself? Why?
I feel like you have to learn to appreciate it. I had my
Unbelievable.
son when I was in high school. I, gave him up for adoption. I look at the goods in that instead of the negatives. I have been gifted so many opportunities, like to give a child to a family that could not have it. There's so many opportunities that I choose to look at it in a positive aspect instead of being like, I was burdened with this child. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's great. I commend you for it. You made the best choice for you and your child to make them go through. It's like for me in my life, it was like, I'm going to be in my kid's life, and that's the most important thing. I actually got custody of my daughter when she was 5. It's a lot of crazy things for me in my life that just, I question everything. Everything,
I
everything at
question
the end of,
everything too.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I do too.
I don't think none of us are, I mean, none of us have all the right answers, and we're going to continue to question life and continue on questioning it. But I am definitely going to leave it here. I really appreciate all you guys coming for conspiracy. I know like how we just go in that rabbit hole all the time, but it's fun. I love it. I don't know why. I
I
love
don't
it.
think I'll be painting all the time, but I have to get this condo done by
Bye,
Friday.
Jimmy. But I do. I appreciate it. If you guys ever have a really badass topic that you want to talk about, we could